been around the whole time.
Yep.
That room was actually kind of nice too.
It was,
really
yeah.
small,
Mhm.
so like the echoing wasn't as big of a problem.
Yeah.
You know. Awesome, cool. We're here. We're live.
Again.
We're good. Yes, we're all set. Welcome back into the new. For those who are visually tuning in or whatever I clip and put on, we are in a new podcast room. Obviously, you could tell this is a different exposure and different view of the podcast. If you can notice, in front of me is Gary. Gary has been on the podcast many times. Again, this is In Deep with Johnny Boy, and Gary and I are just good friends, just catching up, and I thought there's no better person to have into the new podcast room with the new setup than Gary.
Well, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Nice.
Of course. So let's get to the nitty-gritty of what happened this past weekend.
We're going to jump right into
Oh,
it.
I want to
Okay,
know.
okay.
We did not, guys. We didn't talk about this at all.
I know, it was tough. It was tough.
All right, so if we start about the fight card, let's talk about the main event.
Okay.
Alex Volkanovski.
He won.
Islam
He won.
Makhachev. You thought he won?
I thought he won 2, 3, and 5 rounds. So, I mean, you look at the stats, and they're significantly for Volk to win, except for control and takedowns. But I never felt like he was in danger of losing, even when on the ground. So,
Yeah, I think there was something weird with that fight because that wasn't the Islam I'm used to seeing. You know, that's not the Islam I'm used to seeing against Dan Hooker. That's not the Islam I'm used to seeing with Charles Oliveira. All these people that he's fought was completely different. Like, I don't know if it's because he had to travel to Australia. Now he's hitting this time where making that hard weight cut is now hitting him a little harder because that happens inevitably as you get older. You know,
but is this a testament to
how good Volkanovski is?
Volk is? Exactly, right?
Well, and no doubt about it, that has something to do with it because one, he's never been tested that hard, especially through 5 rounds. Islam is known kind of like Charles. He'll run you down, he'll put the pace on you,
For sure.
and then once you fuck up, it's the takedown, submission. That's a wrap, and usually happens within the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Right now, when it happens when you can't push a guy because the guy's pushing you in return and beating you.
And beating you.
You know, there's different. Now you have the mental game. Now you have the crowd game, right? And now you're used to uncharted territories with this amount of rounds going in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what showed. Now, here's the thing, what I didn't like. I told you over the phone before the fight, you know, me and Gary had called each other. I said, I want Alex Volkanovski to win. I want him to win. But I think Islam's going to win.
I think
right?
we were in agreement
Exactly.
with that.
Now, if we're looking at about points, I could see how the judges give it to him. I don't think he deserved the win. If anything, I think it should be a draw.
Okay.
I really did think it was that close of a fight. If it's that close of a fight, and if we look at the 4th round, obviously, where he held him down the most, didn't do anything, just held his back. Volkanovski did more damage with his back being taken than Islam threatened with his back, right?
100%.
So I think you look at that round as a draw. And what it boils down to is the first 2 rounds. First round goes to Islam because obviously he got the knockdowns later on. And even though Alex landed, it's how you end the round, right? So Islam wins the first round. The second round's very close.
Very close.
3rd round, obviously Volkanovski. 4th round, Islam. 5th round, Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Should be a draw or Volk wins. Islam should have never won that.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know if you know this. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but Dan Hooker, right, had released a tweet saying, and I don't know the exact words. I'm pretty sure he said, and I'm quoting, "Damn cunt, or you fucking cunt, you didn't think we would figure out that you hired a nurse for an IV after the weigh-ins."
Oh.
For those of you who don't know, is in the UFC, previously, before it became against the rules, you were allowed to do an IV drip to rehydrate yourself after that massive weight cut. For people who don't know, a lot of these fighters who are fighting in these weight divisions, those aren't their true weight.
Yeah.
They want an advantage by being bigger the day of the fight and the strength. So what they do is, let's say I walked around at 175, I fight at 155. I cut that much weight off.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time I fight in the cage, I'm back to 170 after rehydrating and re-eating. Now, to say that a guy's fully hydrated after one night of an IV, by the muscles, yes, by everything, but the brain still needs, I believe it's 48 hours and more to fully rehydrate to where it's at. But for the most part, you're almost back to optimal level. You just have a little bit of your edge taken off. That's why some fighters, as they get older, it's harder for them, right? to go ahead and make weight, and they get a little bit more wobbly. It's harder to make the weight, right? So you were able to do that, and I think that the UFC wanted to stop this fake cheating because it's legal cheating. You know, you're just going down to a weight division where there is, you know, an complete difference the next day you fight from when you weigh in. So what they did is no more IVs. So I think when people go to make a weight cut, they think in their head, I can't take an IV because it's against the rules. Is this worth it? But realistically, that doesn't stop a fighter. Because one, they're gonna do it, you know. Especially with these guys with wrestling backgrounds, they will go to the end of hell to fucking make weight, despite how they may feel after. So UFC now made it against the rules to not allow these fighters to use IV drip to prevent that from happening. Doesn't matter, it still happens. Alex Volkanovski didn't do it, and you should be under the notion that nobody does it, and it should respect the rules. Dan Hooker is under
the assumption.
Apparently, they figured out who the nurse was.
Oh, really?
That he took an IV drip. Now, there's some pictures floating around of him having the belt and having marks on his veins where typically an IV or blood is drawn. Which I want to state that these fighters do get drug tested after a fight usually, so that could have been a drug test. It could have been blood being drawn after the fight, or it could have been an IV drip from after. The facts aren't out, but if that's true, take the belt.
Take the belt.
Take the belt. Also,
rematch
today,
right away.
I don't know if you noticed at the rankings today,
Volk is still number one.
Pound for pound.
Yeah. Yep, still number one. I mean, back to the weight cut thing. It's one of those things too, right? If Islam did do an IV afterwards, after the weight cut, Volk cuts down to 145 to fight naturally, right? So it's already an advantage for Islam because he's bigger. But then he's even hydrating more to beat this guy who typically cuts more, who's going to be a little more out of shape or a little more, it's just going to be different for him. And I think there was I did see a picture where Volk was 170 for the fight, but Islam was 180. So it makes sense. I mean, that's almost 30 pounds of weight being gained. Now, a lot of it's water weight, and maybe it does affect, obviously it's not muscle and stuff. You're not going to gain muscle in 24 hours. But I mean, being hydrated is a big part of the game.
100%. It affects your cardio. It affects your output. It affects how chinny you are as well.
Yeah.
It affects everything.
Everything.
Hydration is everything. Your body needs that much water, and that's why it's important to rehydrate, and that's why these fighters do that.
Yeah.
I get why. I still think IV should be allowed.
Yeah.
But despite what I may think, rules are rules. And if that's the rule, you shouldn't be doing it. And if you did do that, strip them of the belt.
Yeah.
Put an interim on the line. Let them rematch it if they want.
Yeah.
But if they just would have made it a draw, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like they should have. If anything, because it's hard, isn't it? When you sit there and you see a champion, right? You see two champions who are so complete. You want to see a big difference.
Yeah.
You want to see either a knockout or do you want to see such a shutout that you're like, there's no question.
There's no
He's
question.
far better than him. And we saw that happening in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't. And if we're speaking how rules are mitigated and how judging and scoring is done, takedowns matter and control time matters despite how much you're actually progressing in that control time.
Yep.
So I can see how the judges give it to Islam, but I do think Islam should have lost or at least been a draw.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been declared a champion.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, even Volkanovski said after the fight in the post-fight interview, mind you, this is speculation on his part, but somebody told him that Islam went back to his corner and was like, hey, I want a rematch
because he
thought he lost.
Yes.
Or he didn't think he won the fight.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the UFC, right, you want to make that fight again.
What do you, though?
Yes, because they're both in their prime, right? Alex does have to fight back in his normal division. That's why they made an interim belt, right?
Yep. Which to Volkanovski's credit, I mean, he pushed for that.
Yeah, because he has to. Because the whole reason, and I loved how he said it, right? I loved it how he said the interim belt should never be looked at as the guy who's I'm the one who gets to fight you next. Yes, we all know you're the second best, and usually that's the guy who fights immediately. The first guy to fight the champion is the interim champion, right?
Because that's you have to unify them.
Exactly.
You have to.
But when the champion is doing champion level shit, fighting in another weight division to make history and make his legacy, that's the best time to have the interim champion.
You have to
be like, you got to go through me if you want your chest,
if you want
your chance.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing. I know it's stupid, but when you look at Game of Thrones or any like these things, there's always the president, vice president, there's the hand, and then there's the main guy. There's always a second best you have to go through when the main guy's gone.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez showed that. Yeah. Holy fuck! Speaking about that fight,
I think we both called that. I think you did say Emmett was more well-rounded. Yeah. But the fact that Yair got the submission and not a knockout really is testament to him. I mean, he's known for being the kickboxer and the kicks and the crazy, kind of things of that sort. But the fact that he got a submission just shows how much he's growing.
Oh, big time, right? Big time. You're seeing this big shutout usually when he's fighting, but like a submission is big. It was a triangle choke, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It was awesome. I really I don't know what it is, and I'm not throwing any hate or diss. I do not like Emmett's ribs. Like, if you ever notice the weight cut, his top ribs, they look like they float. They protrude out. I don't know if that's just his anatomy or he's got some poor ab contraction that he needs to focus on using his abs more to contract the ribs. But his top ribs are always out there. You can see them bulking out. And if you watch that fight, guess where the kicks were landing?
Yeah, right
on those ribs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
what's the target?
It was such a big, clear reaction out of him when he landed that first kick. Oh my God! You just saw him you saw him fight the urge to drop.
Yeah.
If you've ever been kicked, if you've ever been Charlie horsed, you just want to drop, right? But you fight that.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh. You saw him clench down and he was still in the fight. You saw a big react, and he kept landing and landing. And that question mark kick that got away that you saw, oh my God, bro. Bro, Mexico's on fire.
Yeah, they are.
I posted that. Mexico's on fire.
Yeah.
They've been on fire. Brandon Moreno, right?
Moreno, yeah.
You have, who's that new 18-year-old fighter that came in?
I thought he was Brazilian.
Raul Rodriguez, I think his last name is.
No.
Tristan, can you look up on Google who the youngest UFC fighter is, and we'll pop it up.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, though. He just did a Contender Series at 17.
Yeah.
He just had his first fight not too long ago.
Find it, if you could drag it up so we can see it, that'd be lit.
But, yeah, I mean, the kid's – he's got a lot of work to do. He's young.
A lot of work.
But like you said, I mean,
the UFC's fast-tracking the fuck out of him. I can tell you that right now, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Rojas. Okay. Where's he from? Is he from Mexico? Does it say?
He is from Mexico, yeah. Can you drag it up so we can see it? Oh, God.
Gotcha. Ads. Rojas. Yep.
UFC Raul Rosas Jr. becomes the youngest UFC. Yes. So you got him, Brandon Moreno. God, look at that choke, bro. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. It's unreal.
18, right?
18.
18?
And he just turned 18 when that happened, bro. UFC's fast-tracking the fuck out of him.
Mexico,
I'm scared. I hope it... And look who he did that to. That's not a walk in the park, No. There is a clear difference between, amateur fighting and pro fighting here.
Yeah.
It's just like the same argument that's made, could the best college team fight the worst NFL team?
Yeah.
And they can't. They can't beat them because it's a completely different league. It's the same thing with that.
Different speed, different power, different everything.
So to see that, with Brandon Moreno, Raul
Rosas,
I keep forgetting his name, so I'll get better. And then obviously, Rodriguez, doing his thing. I mean, you still got all these Latin champions that are moving up.
Yeah.
And then you have obviously Brian Ortega still there. Latin culture right there, just holding it down for us.
Yeah.
You have so many Latin fighters out there that are just really. I feel like you run into these eras where in the UFC or mixed martial arts where Brazil, you have multiple division champions, so it's Brazil's time.
Yeah.
And then you have, for a while, it was just Nigeria. You have
Africa,
you had Israel, Kamaru, and
Francis
Ngannou just chilling there.
Yeah.
Those are, and now you're just starting to see this shift happening. There's this weird shift that you're like, who is who?
Yeah.
But, if we get back to it, Volk's got a big fight to fight with Raul or with Rodriguez.
Definitely not an easy fight for him.
Nah. Because you got a guy who's tall,
lanky.
who knows how to use distance with kicks.
Yeah.
Now, there's an easy answer to that. Catch a kick, take him down.
Take him down, yeah.
Because one, I think we all understand that he's not afraid to go to the ground. He can dominate. Look what he did to Brian Ortega, getting caught in a triangle, armbar, and a guillotine. Look what he did to Islam.
Yeah.
I don't think no one really offers him true potential danger on the ground. Can he get submitted by an error? Yes.
For sure.
And you know better than anybody, when you make the smallest error in jiu-jitsu or anything, that's all it takes. It could be just the wrong decision, listen to the wrong thing, or just waiting a little too long can end the fight.
Timing is everything.
But what Volk shows is that he makes the right choices, and when he's stuck in the bad predicament, he can get out.
Yeah.
So Rodriguez, even no matter how much of a great fighter he is, I still feel like Volk just walks through him. Before the fight with Islam, I would say it's gonna be a tough fight, But But after Islam, I'm like, there's no way.
But-
Who can really offer him problems that much?
What does it do to Volk mentally to be thinking that he won the fight at 155 pounds, now has to go back to 145 with the idea that he really wants to fight again for the 155, right? So he's got to go back down, fight 145.
I think he's okay with it. I really do. Now, I think he's okay with any option here because he mentally knew what he was doing.
Well,
he wasn't like Conor,
but so
he
did-
wasn't like anybody else sitting here like, I want to be the 2-time and I'll defend it. And they don't really. He's like, I'm gonna defend both.
Yeah.
And I think he was on Ariel's little show, and he said, he was like, do you want the immediate rematch? He goes, I want the immediate rematch, but if I don't, that's fine. I got business to handle down there.
Sure, yeah.
And I think he's okay with that. I would be more concerned. I think he's a man of his word. And when he speaks, I think there's volumes to be heard, and I think he needs to be taken seriously, kind of like Khabib.
Well, for sure.
I mean, like, the guy is an absolute, like, he never lies about anything. Like, you can see some of these fighters who lie, Colby Covington, despite what you may think. Him, it's the real fucking deal. When he says it, he does it. And he called everything he was going to do. He goes, I'm a hard motherfucker to hold down.
Yeah.
What happens when I get back up? And we
Yeah.
saw what happens, you know? It's just like, I'm not like any of these other fucking guys. I might be 5'6", but I've been fucking, and everyone says that. I roll with heavier guys. I do, you know, that motherfucker can really do that, you know?
Well, I mean, the dude played rugby at
Exactly.
200 pounds plus.
Bro, he fought in different,
so-
he fought what, in middleweight, in welterweight? You know, he's fucking crazy, bro. He's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That guy's every short man's dream.
Yeah.
He's my dream.
Yeah.
He's
I
my
mean,
dream. 5'6", bro.
Yeah.
He can fight like in divisions above him. Like, oh my god! Like, and for people who don't know, he still had a weight cut.
Yeah.
He didn't just like not weight cut.
Yeah.
It means he was heavier than that too.
Yep.
And but it wasn't obviously a hard weight cut because it was easier. He didn't have to
different.
shed an extra 10
Well,
pounds.
But now what does his body do trying to go back down to 145?
Here, now that's
Right?
That's a good question. Here's
So-
what I will say. From at least from what I know, bodybuilding and cutting weight and all this stuff, and it may not be applied to this completely, just because cutting weight in mixed martial arts and cutting weight in bodybuilding are two different things.
Sure.
I would actually say, and for the longest time, people said that cutting weight in bodybuilding was the most dangerous sport because you bring yourself to an unhealthy, you know, and that may be true because they truly get themselves to 5%,
Yeah.
4%.
Yep.
But the process they do it is actually safer than, you know, MMA.
yeah,
You know, now I will say from what I know from bodybuilding and this is when you can go from a bulk to a cut to a bulk to a cut, they become easier
Yeah.
because the body starts remembering, and that's the best way to do it. But that's bodybuilding.
But also, I mean,
It's a different process to cut.
his process was interrupted though, right? He's used to cutting down to 145. Now his body thinks 155 is the weight that he needs to cut to. Does it go lower? Now he did weigh in at 154 and a half.
Way
I think.
lower.
He was lower.
Yeah.
So did he cut to 145 and then rehydrate himself back up to 155?
No, he couldn't. It would be against terms, and I don't think he would do that.
No, I'm not talking about IV, but I mean just drinking water. At that point, he can eat.
Maybe.
He can drink water. So if he's used to cutting
I don't know
that
if he was
low,
the first one on the scale. If he was the first one on the scale, that would maybe apply.
you know, and then that way he's like, okay, well, I don't want to interrupt my normal process. I don't
No,
want
I
to
don't
interrupt my
think
new.
so. No,
I mean, I don't think so either.
I
But
don't think so.
but now he's got to go back down to 145.
I don't think that's big. I don't think
So-
it's a big issue because I think his body. Yeah, he's a little older, but when he was, you know, he did that multiple times.
Sure.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll
see.
find out.
when
You
the weight
know?
cuts come. He may end up liking. You know, he's like, man, I'm cutting 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Fuck that. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna cut 10.
10.
Maybe completely different. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
You're right, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem for him. I really
Yeah.
don't. I think he's a man of his word. I think we need to start taking him serious. If he says it's not a problem, I've been taking him at his word. You know, because I mean the guy. For anybody who knows, I didn't hate him, but I strongly disliked Volkanovski. I didn't like his ego. I didn't like his beginning of his fights. I didn't like how the judging was made on the first Max Holloway fight. I think
Sure.
Max won.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you I'm no different than the average fucking person who thought the same thing. I was against him.
Yeah.
And now I fucking love him.
Yep.
He has earned every, like, not that my respect counts.
Yeah.
He can give a shit.
Sure.
But as a fan and and just a love for the sport, I love him.
Yeah.
He's earned everything
I
from
do
me.
too. Yeah, I think he's
seen
great for it.
when he fought Max Holloway for the third time, there was a clear distance and fucking just ability to be a fighter. Just everything the skill set he has was completely different than Max in the third fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like John Jones. When John Jones fights the first person, it's close and maybe close. The second time, he's even better.
Yeah.
There's a bigger
Yeah.
gap between skill, and he
Yep.
did that the first fight, the second
Yep.
fight, and then the third fight was just a nail in the coffee. Like, we're on two different levels, homie.
And that goes to show like really what the levels are because Max Holloway is starching everybody else.
It's right.
right?
Like,
So here's Volk
that's no diss to-
destroying Max,
Yeah.
and here's Max destroying everybody else.
yes.
So there's a huge gap.
And
This
it-
isn't even close.
It reminds me so much of John Jones.
Oh,
how we
for
could
sure,
do that.
for
When he
sure.
fought Alex
Yeah.
Gustafsson, it was very close.
Yeah.
Second time, cleared.
Starched him.
Nothing.
There was you couldn't.
Don't literally like the only person I feel like that could have gotten away with the second fight, which you know what doesn't even matter now. I'm gonna say Dominic Reyes, but
I mean, I don't know. When we talked about Dominic Reyes last time, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, and now he's
now
even
it's
worse.
bad.
He
It's
could be
bad.
cut.
What happened? Do you think that first knockout he got after just changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think being
Because he didn't take a lot of damage in the Jones fight. Yeah, he got scuffled. Yeah, he was bleeding. Yeah, he got swollen. But
Yeah,
like
but he didn't
it
go
was
down.
close.
There was no knockdown. Yeah.
it was close. It's arguably
sure.
Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, for sure.
When I first watched that fight, I really thought John Jones, because I was on John Jones' dick. John Jones won it. You know, if you want to beat the champion, you got to knock him out. Years later, I look at it and I watch it 3 times. I'm like, I think Dominic Reyes won that fight.
Yeah, well,
But
and
then
I-
at the same time, why does it fucking matter? Maybe the universe said, bro, you get the belt, you're not going to hold it.
Yeah.
Because what happened after that?
He got starched.
What happened after that?
Yeah, got starched again and
After that,
again and again.
What happened? Is
He
you
just-
think it's that example of what happens when you get rattled and you just change?
Maybe, or it just goes to show matchups matter, right? Maybe coming up through the rankings, he just had those perfect matchups. I mean, let's talk about fighters like Derek Lewis. I mean, he climbed the rankings, hit 2 or 3.
You're right. Yeah.
And now he's on a 3-fight losing
And
streak.
now, and you know, when you put him against a good style,
Yep.
he looks great.
Yeah.
So you're all right.
Yeah,
So maybe
you
so
know,
you think
so-
Dominic Reyes is more of a like it's just a matchups.
Yeah,
It
it's
fit
just
me
a
with somebody
matchups.
who
Yeah.
blends with me well.
Yep.
You know, kind of
Exactly.
like Steven Wonderboy and Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland,
You know?
exactly. Holland could have taken that fight down. Could have
Easy.
hold it. You know,
Coulda won that fight.
He could have straight up could have won it. And I mean, he was
Man of his
still
fucking
holding his
word.
own with a broken
Man
hand.
of his fucking word.
He is,
Same with fucking
you know?
Wonderboy. Wonderboy broke his hand too.
Yeah.
Right. It's
So,
first round too.
yeah.
Both those motherfuckers broke their hands.
And they still went on it.
Dude, that's crazy.
Still went on it.
That's fucking crazy.
I mean, so I think matchups matter, right? I think Reyes hit a point in his career where, like, in his brain, he beat John Jones. And I think when we talked about it, like when me and you called each other about it, we talked about how, like, Reyes could have won. But you don't take the belt from the champion who's defended his belt so many times.
yeah. Yeah.
Because there could have been a win, right? I mean, you got to definitively beat the champion. Now, the judges don't look at that,
No, they
right?
don't.
There's no like home field advantage or home mat advantage. The champion don't get bonus points because he's the champion.
Yeah.
But you really gotta. I mean, I'm sure they're like, okay, well, it's close, but do we really take the belt from somebody who's John Jones? I
Yeah.
mean, regardless of if I'm judging, I know who these fighters are. I know where they're at in the rankings. I know where they're, where they stand. Like the judges aren't biased. These aren't guys that like live in boxes that don't know who these people are, right? Like this isn't a jury,
But then
right?
there's some judges where you're like, how did you?
Yeah. How did Islam win 4 of the 5 rounds on one of the cards?
Right?
So
How is
you know,
who gave him that? Like who?
I don't know.
and it's like I know they fly these judges out,
Mhm.
but I'm sorry, when there's a crowd, it can influence the judges.
Yeah.
Usually it does.
It
especially
usually
with
does.
yeah.
Home field.
And that motherfucker still gave him 4 rounds.
4 rounds. Yep. Volk only won the last round on that, which is mind blowing. I mean, we could sit here and talk about judging all day and how there's bad judging, like you just talked about the Max Holloway first fight. You thought Max won. We could go back and forth and talk about like who won, who lost, and all that stuff. I mean, ultimately, if you don't finish a fight, you run into the risk of the judges handing it to the other person.
And that's that's why a lot of these fighters say I should never leave it in the hands of the judges.
Yes. I mean, unless you're like, Adesanya, who just dominates the entire fight and sometimes just can't finish.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're dominating 5 rounds, like, then you know. I mean, it's...
Speaking of Adesanya.
I know. Last time we talked about him, he was on top of the world. Nobody could touch him. And then here comes his guy from his past that knocked him out twice.
Boogeyman.
The boogeyman.
Imagine running
past.
away from your home bully,
Yeah.
and he goes you from city to city, and he
Yeah, he
checks
just
you
follows
down, and he
you.
fucking just knocks you out, bro. The memes of it, it's hilarious. It says Adesanya quits fighting, goes to like whatever he does, like dancing.
Oh my
Alex
God.
Pereira just
Dancing
like
with the stars.
motherfucker, you going against me now? I'm
Yep,
dancing
yep.
too.
And it's so crazy. And I feel like Adesanya was winning the fight.
He won the fight.
He was winning.
It's that fight is how every fight went before the UFC. Every time they fought in kickboxing was the exact same way. Adesanya rattles him, knocks him down. Judges give him a longer count. That didn't happen to UFC, but that happened previously. And then he goes to win all the rounds. And then at the very end, he just gets clipped.
Yeah.
At the very
At
end.
the very end, yeah.
That Alex, she goes, hold up, homie. I might lose this. Let me take my seatbelt off. Let me fuck the care. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
And knocks him out.
I mean, the guy's scary. I mean, if Adesanya can't beat him in the second fight,
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. I mean,
do you really think he'll hold that division?
I don't know if he'll hold it like Adesanya did, but he's got a lot of good matchups there.
I don't think he. I think him and Adesanya just have like this mutual agreement. We'll keep it standing, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think you introduce Robert Whitaker.
Right? Well, Robert, he's got a fight.
Right.
Well, he doesn't have a fight officially, but it's probably going to happen.
Robert Whitaker.
Yep.
Paulo Costa, even Paulo. You know, get him on the ground. What happens? What happens?
Well, I mean, Pereira has a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but
but
in
Brazil, I mean, they take that shit seriously
I know they
over
do.
there.
I know they
do.
do.
So
but you saw how he fought that double leg takedown all day.
Yeah,
those legs are ready for a takedown. Every wrestler just foaming out the fucking mouth.
I mean,
like,
Hamzat
take
is
him
like,
down.
Yeah.
You know, first time in 5 rounds, gassed. You can see him gassed, right? Doesn't mean he's not dangerous. He's still dangerous.
Sure.
So what happens when, and you know the difference between wrestling, fighting for 5 rounds of your life is different, right?
Oh, yeah,
Than
for
being
sure.
the guy pressing.
Pressing.
You know, it's completely different. So what happens when a guy like, you know, Robert, the Reaper, just holds you down for 5 rounds straight, making you just barely get out?
I mean,
Who can also stand and bang?
I think it's one of those you have to.
I don't think I think Adesanya is his great matchup that he knows he can be if you know, obviously, and everyone else. I think it's not as clear safe of a win as it is with Adesanya. I think the chances of him losing is greater with anybody else than it is with.
I think we mentioned this with like Islam and Oliveira, right? Where like Oliveira is this great jiu-jitsu guy. He's held people down. He's submitted. I think he's got like the most submissions in UFC history at this point. You know, and Islam took him down and submitted him. You know, beat him. And you know, the wrestling side of things when it comes to MMA is almost a little more important than the jiu-jitsu side of things.
Yes.
Right? Understanding the body and how to hold people
Yes,
down, right?
Yes.
Is getting to be better than the submissions itself.
There was a time in itself that I used to think that jiu-jitsu was the only thing you needed to know. In an MMA fight, if you can get to the ground, you're good.
Yeah.
And the more I've learned and the more I've watched, I feel like, yes, jiu-jitsu matters, especially if you compare it with good wrestling. But wrestling, I feel like is the most important because I think it really teaches you I think it just works more in MMA. You know, I think it just favors MMA a little bit more because you control the body, right? What happens when you're on top and you can't get a choke? What happens, right? Yeah. And wrestlers have this different kind of grit. They really fucking do. You can clearly see it. Any wrestler that you go against, they have an extra gear they can hit. You can just see it, bro.
Yep.
You can just see it, and I feel like wrestling is more applicable. And if you compare that with great jiu-jitsu, I think your ground game is fucking awesome. Yeah. Because, like, let's say that you're on back, right? That's where jiu-jitsu helps you. Right? Yeah. You're on the back. You can't get off a guy. All right, let me throw up some chokes. Let me throw something threatening. Let me do something, right? Yeah. And you just saw that, bro. Like, you kind of, like, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I mean, the sport in itself is crazy. And I feel like we go through these stages, right, where, like, wrestling, and I think it's different for division, too. Right, in these lightweights, in these 145 to maybe 170, the jiu-jitsu wrestling thing is like but once you get to like 185,
those motherfuckers want to go on the floor. Because they get gassed fast.
Yep.
I mean, look at it. Derek Lewis can do well against a wrestler. He just gets gassed. Like Derek Lewis got some great wrestling, but it's just different. The only person in the heavyweight division who could really do some great wrestling or jiu-jitsu, John Jones.
Yep.
Maybe Francis Ngannou. We just didn't know because he looked great.
I mean, he's more of a boxer, but
he is. But if you saw what he did, in his last fight, where he was just like he looked like a wrestler and a jiu-jitsu practitioner. It just looked great. There was promise for like a continuation of that reign that he had, and then you have who's fighting here soon. He's fighting John Jones, Hirogan.
Oh,
great ground game too.
Well, I mean,
great movement.
We're talking about, right? We just talked about like the 205 and 185 to heavyweight.
But those are the only guys who could really, do good on the floor, not get gas. But like you're saying, like the higher you go, you're not going to see as much wrestling.
But if we look at let's say like the light heavyweight division, right? For 10 years, it was held by two people, John Jones and Daniel Cormier.
Yes.
And what do both of those guys have in?
Yeah.
They both could wrestle.
Yeah, but just because those
You
two
know-
guys, doesn't mean everybody in that division does that.
No,
I
but-
think that's why they were champion.
But that's why they were champion for
'cause
so
they had
long,
that
because they had that extra
They had the
game that-
advantage.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
And the guys couldn't combat
They
it.
couldn't keep up with it. It's
Yeah.
a different energy, right?
Yeah.
When you're just on the floor, you have another guy's weight on you, you're trying to move,
Yeah.
and they just keep bringing you down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make it to the fence, and you think you got to leverage up. You got one leg up. Now you're starting to wall crawl here
Mm-hmm.
to get to the fence. Next thing you know, he trips you. You're back down on both knees.
Yeah.
Now you got to lift one leg up again. Now you got to fight the hands. It's just different.
Yeah.
You're getting hit to get distracted so he can sink a choke. You grab the hands, you get one leg up, right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you fall back down.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of output and survival than it is standing up.
Yeah. And
And
with those heavier weights, like it's hard. It's more exhausting to carry around 205 pounds and try to get up and,
like
down,
you
up
said,
and down.
you said, that's why they're champions
Yeah.
because they have that
Yep.
advantage. Now when you go back to like Brandon Moreno's division,
Yeah.
those motherfuckers can scramble like a motherfucker. You saw what him and Figueredo were doing. Like
Yeah.
the scramble was crazy. One got
Yep.
one on the ground. When he was on the ground, he tripped him back. He
Freaking
gets
front flips and
it's
rolling.
Those guys
and,
are so fucking fast, bro.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you called that one.
Oh,
I was
dude,
wrong on that
bro,
one.
Brandon Moreno all the
I was
way.
wrong on that one.
Brandon
but-
Moreno's. I've been right on every Brandon Moreno fight.
I mean,
bro.
and I know, we talked about Figueroa was going to move up weight classes anyways after, even if he won.
Yeah.
But it's still like, man, I mean, Moreno worked him. It was not even close.
No.
It wasn't even close.
He's just. I feel like that division's his.
Yeah.
I mean, like the only person maybe I thought would cause an issue was Kai France, and
Yeah.
body kicked him. Right,
But-
he got him
and-
down.
and I think we-
who's the next one up fighting? Who just won recently? He's Mexican as well.
I don't know. And we talked about this in our last podcast too, right? Like that division was solely ran by two people, and it was the two people who fought 4 times to get there, right? Moreno's already beat Car France to get back, and I don't know anybody else in that division that's going to compete at that level. Sure, I mean, France is probably going to get his shot, but I mean, after that, who's next up?
Right.
I don't know by name. I mean, you might make matchups and stuff like that, but I don't know names.
Yeah.
What are they? 125?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think? John Jones is here or gone? 3 years.
I don't know, man.
Hasn't been fighting, but actively wrestling. Throwing arm muscle, staying active. I will say he does have an extra gear. Don't be surprised if that dude can do well working in darkness.
Who?
John Jones can work
yeah.
well in darkness, no matter the hate you give him, no matter how much shit he fucks up on. It's almost like he does it purposely to himself, so he just got something to prove to fuck everybody. And now that the man's personal life is his personal life. If you follow him, he's got some home troubles, and I believe that they have separated. His wife
Oh, really?
left him, and now they got divorced. I mean, I shouldn't feel bad for even talking about it. He posted it on Instagram.
Sure,
Said,
yeah.
He put, the man was down for a while, so I think he just like put the hat down and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to be champion.
And I just, it's so hard to go against John Jones
It's hard.
because he's never lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a loss because it was disqualification, but he's never lost.
Technically,
I mean,
Dominic
yes.
Reyes beat him.
No, he didn't. No, he did. If we're talking technically, Dominic Reyes did not
Look at this
beat
man,
him.
bro, look at this motherfucker,
All right,
bro.
what we
John
got?
Jones to go to his back, bro. A fucking trailer. I love a good trailer, bro.
Is the greatest of all time.
17
Oh,
hours.
17
Okay.
hours
Okay.
Volume on his John? Got the remote?
That was the question. Shogun, he got done dirty too.
It took out generations of fighters with legend after legend.
This next chapter will be where
The
I show
audio
the
on
world
and
how great I
uh,
can possibly be. I'm coming back to get what's mine.
I mean,
John Jones'
headphones next time.
heavyweight debut, 3
Oh my,
years
so
in the
funny.
making. Going up against
Huge.
Silver
Ichiro Gon.
heavy.
I don't honestly. I don't think Gon stands a chance.
You know what I think wins this fight, and I'm calling it now. I'm go with those knee kicks.
Me?
Everyone calls them
the
leg kicks.
front. Yeah.
They're not. They're
No,
knee
no,
kicks.
no,
they're
they're knee,
hyperextension of the knee going backwards. I swear to God, John, because if you know John Jones, that motherfucker fights dirty.
Literally, to this day, Rampage Jackson still talks about this. He was on a podcast not too long ago, and I think somebody had asked him like, "Oh, who's the dirtiest fighter you've ever fought?" And then he was like, "John Jones
said
by
John
far."
Jones?
Yeah, he's like, "Those knee kicks, I still hurt because he hyperextended
And what do
my
you do
knee."
to a guy, Cyril Gane, who has knee issues?
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
had knee. The reason why he lost
You-
some of his fights is because of his knee.
You know what I think catches him? I think John Jones catches him with a head kick. Because these heavyweights don't head kick. They knee, right? We're seeing knees. They got heavy hands, but they don't head kick.
Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is no. Pull up a video of Derek Lewis kicks.
Okay.
Bro,
All right, let's
Derek
see.
Lewis has the weirdest anatomy. You wouldn't expect, like your reaction, you would not expect Derek Lewis to be able to throw a fucking tricky head kick. That motherfucker's got some great mobility in his hips.
So, this is weird because I thought the Amanda Nunes fight was
No.
also on this
No, no,
card.
no, no.
Are you sure?
Not that I know.
Unless they got pulled.
It would be something else. No, because they're putting Shevchenko on. They wouldn't have 3 title fights.
I hear you, but I feel like
They're
last
bucked
I
out.
looked.
I think they spread it out.
Let's see here. Zero gone. 285.
Derek Lewis high kicks, head kicks, or you can put leg kicks or whatever. Kicking head kicks doesn't matter.
Okay, so this has changed a little bit since the last I looked at it, because Nunes was on this fight card, but they must have moved her. Now they got Bo Nickel on there. Okay,
Yeah, Bo Nickel.
let's see then.
Promising
Maybe they
as
moved
well.
it to the Edwards Usman 3.
No. Can you just nothing's popping up as Derek Lewis kicks? Nah, that's fine.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
That's
But-
crazy, bro. I feel like, bro, I really do, bro. If you notice it, I'll have to find it. But like, there's so many fucking fights where he just like he doesn't land them. It's crazy, but they get up there. They're
Yeah.
very sneaky. But yeah, you're right.
So,
most
but
heavyweights don't
most-
throw head
yeah,
kicks.
they don't
you know,
throw
like
head kicks
maybe
like that.
what John Jones did it to Daniel Cormier. That's how he knocked.
But that was light
rattled
heavyweight.
him, right? Yeah,
That was 205,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is John Jones' first go at heavyweight.
yeah.
So,
So you think John Jones beats Cyril Gane
by head kick.
by head kick?
If not head kick, the head kick is going to open something for him.
Here's what I think opens the door to a finish: is those knees.
Okay.
I feel like his little front knee kicks that he throws is going to fuck Cyril Gane's movement critically. I feel like it's going to cause a lot of issues, and he's not going to have this. Because what's Cyril Gane known for? His movement.
Yeah.
He's one of the only heavyweights out there who has movement like
Yeah,
that.
hands,
like he
boxing,
can,
like-
like he's in and out, and that's why it works in his favor. Because these guys can keep up with that pace, and he can go on the floor, and he's great.
Yeah.
You know, how do you limit that? Leg
Yeah.
kicks, and what is John good at? Leg
Well,
kicks.
Leg kicks, yeah.
And immobilizing you by these knee kicks. You know, he's fucking crazy. I do believe what starts the downfall of Cyril Gane
Yeah.
is those hyperextension of the knees.
Yeah.
I think that. But Cyril Gane, you know, now not to discredit him, that guy is very, very strong. When his knees are working, he's scary. He's a force to be fucking reckoned with. And John Jones, we don't know. Like, I understand that John Jones has proved us wrong continuously, but we do not know what 3 years does off, because no matter how great you are, no matter how dominant you are, no matter how many times you've proven us wrong, what will always catch up to you is time.
Yeah.
Father Time always wins, no matter what. You could have the best genetics in the world,
Yeah.
and Father Time will bring you right back down and say,
100%.
that's it, you're done. The question is, did Father Time catch up to John Jones in the past 3 years? We don't know.
We don't know.
And we're
Until
going
we
to
see
figure
it.
out.
Yeah.
Will he have ring rust? Fuck no, probably not. Because he's been out many times. He hasn't fought actively continuously.
Yeah.
He's had, I think, of everyone in the UFC, he has the most time in between fights, besides when he came back from being suspended. And ring rust never applied to him. But it's his speed, it's his power, it's Father Time.
Yeah.
We're not going to know.
Yeah.
And let's drug test the fuck out of him.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Speaking
So-
of drug testing, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler.
I mean, has McGregor entered the USADA pool yet?
Oh, well, I totally forgot about it. I really
Yeah.
did. I was
Yeah.
like, why can't they make this fight sooner? And you were
Yeah.
like, Johnny, hey, yo, homie's got to be in the USADA pool for 6 months before he could fight. And I forgot about it. That's why that
Yeah.
fight's so late.
But the UFC is so far booked out. I mean, they're
It's
like
ridiculous.
6 months out.
Yeah.
Because of these rematches that have come up. Because like Usman has dominated the division so
Well, he gets
long.
an immediate rematch with Leon Edwards.
He has to. You know, he dominated the whole fight. Got caught with a head kick.
Same thing.
Which again, we talked about last time, and I totally called it. What I say? Oh, Leon Edwards is a way better boxer than Masvidal. and you did not want to accept that.
I really do think I don't think Leon Edwards is that good in boxing. I really think Jorge's better at boxing.
Maybe straight up hands.
Yeah.
But when you intertwine the MMA side of things,
I guess.
I mean,
yeah, because you could be a great boxer, but there's boxing
Yeah.
and MMA is completely different.
It's
right?
different, yeah.
You don't want to fight completely in the pocket all the time unless
And I
you
mean-
got great ground defense, you got good ground control, and your movement is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alex Volkanovski is the best example of that. When he fought in the pocket with Islam,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever notice like when he was leaving the exchange of the pocket, he ended it with a thigh kick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every time he would throw it on the end way out, so he would be the first one in and
Yeah.
the last one out.
the last one out.
He was doing great.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. But you're right, So Leon Edwards got great hands.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they call him Rocky. I get
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
Speaking of fucking Rocky was awesome. Like that was a Rocky story. I just don't think he wins. I don't. I think
I don't think he wins again. I think Usman definitely tries to hold him down maybe some more. Maybe like more wrestling and stuff like that. But I mean, Leon is good on the ground too.
but you could be good on the ground, but once you meet someone caliber, like
Yeah.
how many people are great at wrestling that Habib just fucking walked through?
Oh well, I mean, that's a different level, man. That's a
But
different
Kamaru's
level.
just as dominant on the ground as Habib is.
Yeah.
So why he doesn't tie both ankles up against the cage and just holds one arm down and says, let's talk now. So why he doesn't do that. He's still dominant, right?
Yeah.
And I think, speaking of Habib, I think we just saw that nobody, no matter how much Habib says Islam is better than him, Habib is the GOAT comes to that. Not saying of all time. Because in the UFC, I can see, if we're talking stats, like, yeah, he's the most dominant. I get it. No one gave him really much trouble. There's no fighter like him. He was
Yeah.
great at wrestling. He showed you could be really good at wrestling and just get by with that, right?
Yeah.
Develop the later attributes later on. But to me, a GOAT, he's not the GOAT.
Yeah.
To me, I don't even think John Jones is a GOAT. I think once you get caught with steroids, I think you're kind of taken out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No matter if it's picogram or whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even that. It's the drugs he's taking that he's admitted taking. Doing cocaine the night before fighting Daniel, right? Going out drinking before fighting. Hitting a pregnant woman. I understand these are past, but to me, on my terms, what a GOAT is a guy who, rises above everything else. Not just in fighting, but in life.
Okay.
Who goes through hardships and comes back.
I got
even
you.
better. A great example of that, Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
Guy comes into UFC, does not even a UFC, goes on a Contender Series, loses to Kai France, I think, or someone else, right? And then comes to the UFC, not entertaining enough. That division's dying. They kick him out. And then he gets invited to come back when the division's doing great, and he becomes the fucking champion.
Yeah.
Fights Figgy the first time, fights Figgy the second time, fights Figgy the third time. like
Fourth time.
Like
I
literally,
mean-
like the guy's going through adversity. That's what shows me what a great fighter is I do not care if you're your win streak. I don't. I care if can you beat the guy who beat you. That's typical Rocky story.
Okay, so I disagree with you in the sense of like when we're talking about the greatest of all time, right? And I always said this too because the NFL Hall of Fame does this where they will look at your off-field situations and hold that against you when going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's players like Chad Ochocinco that are not in the Hall of Fame because of the stuff they did
the shit
off
they
the
get
field,
into,
right?
yeah.
Which, okay, maybe to an extent because you don't want those guys to be the face of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
NFL or whatever it is when it goes into the Hall of Fame. But do we judge based off of stuff that happened off the field in the sense of the NFL or out of the
like keep the
octagon?
private life private. What they do out there is what they should
Yeah.
be recognized as for what's in game.
For sure, right? Like if,
I get that. I get that.
If we were to get caught with a DUI, you're probably not losing your job. You may be reprimanded and stuff like that, but you're not going to lose your job because you got a DUI
Yeah, here's the reason why I don't. But the reason why I brought that up is because that goes to show how much you care for the sport you're in.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to do that.
Well,
in the sport
for
you
sure.
are, you're not supposed to do any steroids. You're not supposed to get any altercations outside of the UFC.
Yes,
and
agreed.
there is some giveaway in a superstar. Like look at Connor punching the guy in a fucking bar.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Throwing a chair at a bus when he wasn't supposed to. All that stuff. The reason why I bring John Jones up, why he won't be my GOAT, is because of that shit. Because it goes to show he didn't really take the game that serious. What he could have been if he had never done those things, we'll never know.
Think about this though.
Remember, this is the same guy who got multiple DUIs before during COVID pandemic, got another DUI and shooting a gun in the air.
Okay. No. Terrible person. I mean, we could sit here and argue person, whether he's bad or good
The
or a
guy
role model.
got pulled over.
Okay,
There's a
but-
bottle of liquor in the back, and they're like, "Oh, we heard shots going off. This has been freshly fired." and you just out here talking to the homeless.
Okay, well, think about this though, right? If we're talking about the sport of MMA and UFC, if you look at John Jones' body of work in the UFC, and then account for what he was going through out of the octagon, and he still accomplished this.
That's why I say
we
he does
say
great
what
in the
if.
darkness.
We say what if.
So you think the reason why he's so great is because of that, and that
Because we say.
So you're saying in comparison, even if he didn't go through those things, he would have never been as great.
No. I think. Right? How do I word this so it makes more sense? People already look at John Jones as the GOAT,
Yes.
right? Because of his body of work.
Yes.
He literally held a title, other than Daniel Cormier taking the title because he got suspended for his picogram or the coke or whatever it is, right?
Woman.
Yeah. So, but people still look at him as the GOAT for how long he held the title. He's never lost a fight.
No,
Again, technically speaking, he elbowed Matt Hamill in the head and lost, but he's never lost a fight, right? And we still say, what if he didn't do this stuff?
Well, yeah.
Right? How great does he become?
I believe
Even
he becomes
more,
better. I think he becomes better.
Right? So here he is already at this
So you're
pedestal.
saying because we even have that conversation of how much better he could be, he's unanimously like
you have
he's a
to.
GOAT.
You have to.
Yeah, I
Right?
can see
I
that.
mean-
I can see what you're saying.
If I have no legs, right? Let's talk about the athletic or the Olympian that had no legs, right? In the Paralympics, he probably freaking smokes everybody. But he even competed in the regular
And he did
Olympics.
great.
And he did great, right?
And so imagine if he had legs.
But that's it. Imagine he had legs. Imagine he
I can
wasn't.
see what you're saying
right?
because
So
we even have that conversation of how much better he could be when he's already great.
when he's
goes
already
to show
great,
how great
goes
he
to
is.
show,
Yeah.
right? His greatness and how much
Exactly.
he could have been.
I just,
so
on my terms, I think of a person how much they care for the sport and how much they love
agreed.
these
I
things,
mean,
you
person,
know?
I
I
agree.
don't
like,
see John Jones. As soon as you hit your wife, and in front of your
Well,
kids,
then who's your
and,
GOAT?
My GOAT is going to be Israel Adesanya. All right, I really do believe it. All right,
Okay.
Alex Volkanovski.
Okay.
He's, and
Yeah, I think he's up there now.
I think very much up there.
Yep.
Habib's not even on there. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
listen.
not- he's not even on there.
I may be wrong, but I think Habib only defended his belt 3 times.
I'm pretty sure it's twice. Can you look up how many times Habib Nurmagomedov defended
Well,
his
he
belt?
beat Gaethje,
He
he beat Poirier,
Poirier.
and he beat Conor.
That was immediately after he got his belt. Conor was his first title
Yeah,
defense.
because
and then
I think Conor was actually interim champ. No.
He took the belt
He did.
got vacated because
Yes.
Conor was boxing.
Yeah,
Habib
yeah.
took it
So I'm
3 times, 3 title
Yeah,
defenses.
so-
Habib Nurmagomedov retired with 3 title defenses. Yes,
Right.
So it was Gaethje, Dustin Poirier,
And Conor.
Exactly. So he's not even in.
he's not. He can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, was he great? He was great, but again, we're left with the question of how good is he because he wasn't. The longevity is not there, right? As far as champion goes. You talk about Adesanya. And I mean, I think he's got 6 title defenses. Or maybe
it's not
5.
Yeah,
Maybe 5.
So
but
Israel Adesanya, I got.
Okay.
Alex Volkanovski, obviously. Brandon
Okay.
Moreno, I
Okay.
really do. And the reason why I'm putting multiple because these guys are in their own weight divisions. But if we're talking like all fucking time, I mean, you're Anderson Silva, GSP.
yeah. Okay.
You know,
I was
but
gonna-
then
I was
there's
about
even
to say-
some debate with GSP, because when he came back, the guys were a little weathered or a little different, but still comes back. I
Well-
can understand that argument.
So I want to point out the 3 guys you mentioned are all active fighters.
Yes.
Right. How do we not put like Hoist Gracie in there? Right. I mean,
I think these type. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna say with Connor. So like, I think those guys get a special category.
okay.
I think the UFC isn't where it's at for Hoist Gracie because without the Gracies and
Yeah.
the UFC's never. Because what
Yeah.
started it was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against striking.
Sure.
Small man versus big man.
Yeah.
That's what got all
And they
the
picked
eyes on
Hoist
it.
for that reason.
Exactly.
It
It was literally because of them. They are the pioneers. I think they hold themselves to a higher category. I don't think
sure.
they're goats. I think they're the pioneers
Yeah.
of UFC.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk about Conor McGregor, there was a time you can call him a goat. There was. Now it's not.
Well,
now it's not. What I
he
think
was
you
first
put
champ,
Conor,
right?
I think he changed. I think he's not a pioneer. I think he's a developer of the UFC. He put more eyes on the sport than anybody could. He showed UFC fighters like Francis Ngannou, you don't have to be restricted in the UFC. You can get leverage from the UFC to go up to boxing if you're that much of a high hitter in the UFC. You don't have to get in trouble of your public relations outside. You could punch an old man. You could throw a chair and glass and
Yeah.
break it into someone's fucking eye on someone else's fight card and still get the fight Habib after because you're that much of a ticket seller.
So, I think there's only been 3 champs, right? Connor was first. Then you had Daniel, and then Amanda Nunes is still champ.
Yeah,
Right?
Amanda Nunes, obviously for the she's definitely.
But I want to talk about, like, you mentioned Adesanya. He failed his champ. He lost to
against
Blachowicz, right?
Yes.
Volk just lost his chance. Now, we can argue that
Yeah.
he should have won, but ultimately he lost.
Yeah.
It goes down as number 2 now
Yeah.
as lost, right?
Yeah.
So he failed his chance to be champ,
Yeah.
right?
So who's championship? Damian Cormier.
Well, Daniel, which we just
Possible
talked
John-
about,
I
other
was
than
gonna
John
mention- I
Jones,
was
you
gonna
know,
mention Daniel too. Daniel's there too.
which we just talked about, other than John Jones, he's
Yeah.
the only other person
Champ,
for that
champ.
10-year
What
span.
happened- But then you have to understand, John Jones becomes champ, and if you're just avoiding all the picograms, all the shit he gets out, if you're holding it by stats, DC goes below John Jones. John Jones
Well,
becomes.
Here's the thing:
has
is
more title defenses.
there's
Almost
been
beat
other
DC.
there has been other champions that have won in 2 weight divisions, right?
Yes, yeah.
Randy Couture,
Yeah.
I believe he
Yeah.
was heavyweight and light heavyweight, but there's only been 3 to hold him at the same
Yeah,
time,
simultaneously.
right? So you talk about Connor.
Conor.
who beat Eddie Alvarez,
Yes.
and then he beat Jose Aldo,
Yes.
right?
And not
mean-
just like beat.
No, he
like,
starched him.
He didn't even fucking receive any damage.
Yeah.
It's like one of the fastest knockouts you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the footage to come out after him in the practice room practicing that same
Same
punch,
exact thing. Yeah.
the same scenario. Dude, that guy.
So we can sit here and have the argument that Connor could be the greatest,
yeah.
right?
Having someone in the conversation of being a GOAT is different than being the GOAT.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it.
So it would be Brandon Moreno for me. Israel
Okay.
Adesanya,
Okay.
Right? It would be DC, obviously. I would even go Stipe to a point just because
He's
he's
the greatest
defended
heavyweight
his
in my-
division a lot.
yeah.
Like a lot. Like
Yeah.
no one's ever defended it. Not
That
even
many
Francis.
times.
Not even Francis. Because Francis
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think he defended.
No.
He
won.
won.
the belt,
Yeah, he just won it, and then that
Um,
was it.
And then obviously, that's active. I get GSP, and I get everybody.
I think for me-
But here's the problem I have though. Here's the problem I have when we compare previous GOATs. The fighters nowadays. I'm sorry.
The what?
The fighters that we have now in our time, I really do believe they sleep all the previous.
Okay,
GOATs.
so
'Cause
my-
that's how the game's developed.
I disagree with you with my goat, and I'm going to say Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva.
Okay. I mean,
Who
I
is
grew
Ruby?
up. But he beat him when he was in the,
I know.
like old.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I
when you-
mean,
I understand that, but once you give into that fight and once
Sure.
you sign the contract, you pretty much give that excuse away.
yeah. I mean, as far as like win or lose, right? But when we're fans and we're talking about it, we have to mention that the dude's old.
Yeah.
I mean, he just got slept by Jake Paul, right? I mean, the guy's old. He's
And
hurting.
that's no
You
diss to
know,
Jake.
I mean,
Jake Paul's a fighter.
he is 100%.
Anybody who says that kid
no,
cannot
I
fight,
agree with you. Yeah,
that guy's got some fucking serious power.
yeah, he can box.
I've said it from day one. Like after his first couple fights, I was like, Jake Paul is good at boxing. He's got some strength. Is he the best? No. Is he pro level? No. Does he have the ability to become better
Sure.
and to really go? He does. He really does. And he just signed a contract.
Yeah, with PFL.
PF fucking L. Could you imagine Jake Paul goes in MMA and just choke somebody, knock someone out, bro?
I don't see it
Dana,
happening.
please
I
make
mean,
it fucking happen. I don't think it happens. I think one leg kick it and that's it.
Well,
I think once you get rid of your,
they're definitely talking Logan Paul in the UFC.
well, yeah, because Logan has a wrestling background,
Yes. Yeah.
and I thought he was gonna sign a contract, but it was for his hydration prime. That's what he signed.
Yeah.
I would like to see Logan because he's got great wrestling, and I saw footage of him wrestling with some of the UFC fighters out there. He's pretty good.
Sure.
While we're on this topic, though, of boxers,
Yeah.
of like these YouTube boxers, there's one YouTube boxer who I think really needs to be taken seriously, who is pro level already.
Okay.
Salt Poppy.
Okay.
His last fight proved it, bro. Huh? Salt Poppy. Salt Poppy KO. Dude, that fight, bro. The guy's got hands. At first, I was like, okay, I saw him box. Anyone can look good hands. Anybody can look good.
Sure.
But in the fight, bro, you should have seen his timing on the fucking punch. Bro, it was loud. There was a snap. The form was good, and it was decisive. The guy's got movement and hands. I swear to God, he has a serious career in boxing. I think out of all the YouTube fighters out there, he's the guy. Look at this. Look at this fucking punch. Look at this fucking punch. Yeah, I think that was it, bro. I wish you could see it.
I mean, there's 2 minutes here. So
Okay.
like,
Oh, this is the highlight.
Cut from Josh. Oh,
So, like he's just getting literally quite literally, no pun intended, salty. Come on, bro, that ain't shit. You know how it is. This guy's tall, and this guy can box too. Like, yeah, he's not no pro box. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the counter to that. Look at the pivot, and then just a snap off it. It is fucking ridiculous. This guy's so much bigger than him. Look at this.
Downstairs too.
Now Josh is throwing some more.
Josh should be excelling. He's the longer fighter. Should be touching Poppy.
Look at this
from the
pivot.
distance.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And that's his only third fight, bro.
What a shot.
And if you follow him on Instagram, I think it's his third fight. If you follow him on Instagram, the guy's always trained. What he looked like before boxing, he was fat. This kid takes his boxing serious.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, is he Filipino?
All right, we're gonna pause real quick because I gotta use the restroom.
Go ahead, use the
All right,
restroom.
let me use the restroom real quick, and then we'll come back.
That should be your role model, Tristan. Filipino right there? Bro. Dude, bro. Do you watch a YouTube boxers? Yeah. Who didn't Manny Pacquiao just fight somebody? Manny Pacquiao fought like somebody. I'm pretty sure. Like a YouTube boxer, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Isn't that what we've been saying for? I thought he was governor for a while. Can you look up Manny Pacquiao last fight? Wait, you went to the YouTube boxing or the? I found out after. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I ran into one of those guys at the gym. Yeah, he fought under that card, the KSI card. Jesus. Oh, okay. Am I hitting the table? Okay. Yeah, no, that's why I kind of want to get like a tripod, I think. Yeah, tripod. 2 tripods. 1. Huh? No, you're fine. It's fine. No, you're good. You're good. So 2 tripods.
I think maybe we can have like an actual background so we're just not looking at the desktop. Like maybe
Oh, okay.
We'll have like an animation of your logo.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Instead of this.
Yeah, that'd be lit. Yeah, I was thinking about putting like the logo back here too for like. Yeah. How long have we been running?
We were at about an hour now, 57 minutes.
Nice.
Sorry, that G Fuel hit me.
Yeah, that caffeine will make you piss, bro. It wasn't
Yeah,
just that. It was
for sure.
other shit too.
Mm-hmm. So YouTube boxers, right? If we're talking about them, we also have to look at level of competition. I don't know Salt Poppy. I haven't really followed him or things like that.
I don't really follow him, but I'll watch them to see who's promising, and he's promising.
I don't really keep up with boxing. I'm more like UFC guy, obviously MMA. But the Paul brothers fight boxers or fighters,
Yeah.
right? I mean, all of Jake Paul's fights since Ben Askren have been MMA guys.
Yeah.
They've taken punches, they've thrown punches,
Yeah.
they know how to punch, they know how to take punches,
Yeah.
right? And he starts them all. I mean, his last fight, he
Yeah.
knocked out Anderson Silva.
Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley twice. I mean, I think the first one was decision.
Yeah.
But he starts them in the second
Well,
fight.
he's got a Fury to fight.
Yes.
Jake Paul's got a
A
Fury. to
legit
fucking
boxer
fight.
in front of him now.
Yes. Now, is he the fucking best? Is he a Tyson Fury? Is he like no?
No.
But the guy should be taken serious.
Okay. Well, you want to see an interesting? Can
Did
you
you
pull
s-
up Tyson Fury's opponents and look
Tyson Fury's?
at? Or I'm sorry. Who's he fighting? What Fury brother? Not
he's,
Tyson.
uh,
I can't think of his first name.
Google.
No, Google.
Type in Jake Paul versus, and then it'll pop up.
Yeah.
I forgot his fucking name, bro.
How can we forget his name? Because Tyson Fury is just his older
Because
brother.
I said Tyson.
Tommy Fury.
There
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
yes.
Pull
Jesus.
up his opponent's records.
Tommy Fury fight record.
Yeah. So his opponent's records are just insane. One is like 1-127.
Jesus.
Literally has lost 127 fights.
Yeah.
Like, now, mind you, a lot of boxers do this. They pad their records when they're good.
So
I wish there was a way. Can we pull up the record for this guy here? Can we pull up his record? Anthony Taylor? Yeah.
Yeah, look up Anthony.
Yeah.
Taylor,
But I want to say, like, combined, their records are like 10 and 522 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's only fought fighters that have won 10 fights, you know?
Yeah.
Now, all boxers do this. All professional boxers do this. When they're good, they pad their records by beating boxers who just aren't good.
Yeah, it's called. I mean, the word would be priming them.
Sure.
Or to like just really get them ready for.
Yeah.
You know, the champion that they're
yeah,
promised
yeah.
to be, and that's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah.
The UFC just doesn't have the patience for that, nor does it have that many divisions.
Well,
that's why I like UFC.
They
I like UFC because there's not so many champions. Like there is a lot of champions in the UFC. Yes,
yeah.
but it's nowhere near boxing.
No.
You get a belt every fucking 5 pounds you put on.
Yeah, but I also think that when it comes to boxing, the best don't fight the best. You don't get that.
I guess you're saying, yeah.
Right.
But in the UFC, you do.
In the UFC, you do, yeah. Right?
Because how many times have we tried to get Pacquiao Mayweather?
Yep.
And there's always like, oh,
We
Mayweather
got it
was-
once.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they are not in their primes at the both same time, and it won't happen. It's
doesn't
the
happen.
worst part about
Yes.
boxing. That's why everybody liked. I think the only time we could talk about that was Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
That was the only time
We
I
got
think
3 of
only
those.
got-
We
that
never
was
got
amazing.
an Anthony Joshua fight with either
never.
of them.
No,
you know, we did get. I think we're on the verge of getting an Usyk fight.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't fight the best. This is why I like Ryan Garcia, though. I mean, I don't know if you keep up with Ryan Garcia, but he's about to fight, Tank Davis,
Bro.
right? I mean,
Bro, no one's, bro, you better get a goddamn 285 fucking hertz camera because we are not going to see any of those punches. Both those guys are fucking fast, bro. Who do you think's faster?
Garcia.
Garcia?
Yeah, I like
I don't
Garcia.
know, bro. I think
a lot of
I
people.
think Tank's a smidge faster.
You think so?
I think it's because he's a smidge shorter. It looks faster. I think that's why.
Okay, I
I
can see
really
that.
do. I think because Garcia's got a longer reach. I think, and so because of that, you can kind of see his punches a little bit more.
Okay.
And I think with Tank, he's a little shorter, and he just looked fast as fuck. Bro, regardless of who's faster, they're both fast. And those guys. So who you got winning, Tank or Garcia?
I like Garcia,
Yeah,
I like Garcia.
I want Garcia to win. Tank's fast.
but yeah,
Garcia took a punch, a really hard punch, one of his fights, and he goes to show he can go through adversity, come back and win. So that's promising. But this is a fight. I think this is the only one why you brought it up is the one we're getting where they're both in their prime.
Yeah, they're both in their prime. They're both, good fighters. I really think this is a step for Ryan to get out of that Instagram fighter kind of deal.
Do you think
right?
that's what he was kind of? Yeah.
I think so. I think, even though he's a great fighter, and which he is, I mean, people will never put him up there with like Lomachenko,
Yeah, I guess.
right? Lomachenko is that guy from friggin' Ukraine that just destroys most people, and he's a boxer, right? Ryan Garcia is a boxer, but because he's
I think
social
it's because he
media,
understood social media following and how much that impact. I think he was
Yeah.
smart to do that. But I can see what you're saying because there's a taste
Yes.
in someone's mouth. It's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
YouTubers like, you're a
I mean,
YouTuber,
and that's
you're an
the
Instagram
thing
bro.
is like he used to train with Canelo.
Yes.
Canelo didn't like that fact that he was a social media guy, and
You didn't? What makes you say that?
well, they had a falling out because of it.
That's what it was? I
Yeah.
thought they just left.
Well-
You think that's what it was, really?
I believe Canelo also said that Garcia didn't have the heart and he didn't have the drive because I think Garcia took a break from mental health.
Yeah, I remember,
Right?
yeah.
And Canelo's that kind of guy that like, dude, you got to fight through that shit.
Yeah.
He's an old school kind of mindset
Yeah.
where like, you don't stop work because you feel bad today.
Yeah.
And that's Canelo's mindset. And Garcia didn't like it, and
Yeah.
they just kind of had odds for there.
Well, yeah,
So-
I think, yeah.
But
I can see where Canelo's come from, but at the same time, like, I think that's important, though.
Yeah.
I feel like, the kid said he could retire right now.
Who, Garcia?
Garcia. He's
Oh,
got
yeah, for
money,
sure.
bro. Big time.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All these boxers
He has
got
a
money. He could
following.
be fine, bro.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's smart for him to sit there and be like, if he's going through some mental I mean, like, we can't say that when Tyson Fury did the same thing. Tyson Fury tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
And he had to
Oh,
take a
for
mental
sure.
break, get himself
Yeah.
together, and come back, and he came better.
Yeah.
What if that's the same thing with Garcia?
Oh,
No,
I
I'm not
agree.
saying like that's to hate on you. I'm just saying like Canelo should at least, if that's truly what Canelo felt like, come on, brother.
Yeah, but
Dial back a little bit. I understand that's your roots, but like, even the
what
greats
makes you money as a boxer, right?
fighting.
Well, fighting, obviously that's your job. But I meant more of like
Relatability.
sales, right? Seats, people buying
Yeah.
seats. The cost of the ticket is based off of who you are.
Yeah.
Right? If we're going to go watch a Jake Paul fight, I'm sure the tickets are going to be more expensive because of the name Jake Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Anthony Taylor, I would not go watch. I mean, maybe I take my girl to go watch this fight because we're going to be talking the whole time. You know, I don't know who this guy is, right? You know, but you pay for the name.
Yeah.
And if Ryan Garcia has understood that social media builds your name,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah.
You know?
Who can also is not a that would fall in the realm of YouTube, right?
Sure.
But
yeah.
he ain't no YouTube fighter.
No, he's not a YouTube fighter.
That
His
kid can
main
actually-
career is fighting, right? But he is taken this idea of social
He's
media.
kind of like blending two worlds.
Yeah.
And you
just
think
to
that's
bring
why
those-
like Canelo didn't?
Well, I just think Canelo didn't understand it. I think he's an old soul.
I think
he's
that's
an
a
old
good. I think
mind
that's a good way of
and-
putting it. I think you said it best right there.
Yeah.
I don't think he can understand it. I don't think
Yeah.
he just doesn't have that like mentality. He can't
Yeah.
comprehend that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think nowadays a lot of people are leaning towards that. Let's take breaks. You know, like all these fighters. You know, Israel Adesanya was one of the first UFC fighters to come out and say, "Hey, I got mental help.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a psychiatrist or a therapist after my first belt that I won, which is admirable, and it made him more likable.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think a lot of these fighters are trying to, because the mental game of fighting is hard too. It's not just like physical; it's hard. You know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You got a target on your back, bro. You got people coming after you. Your family's pretty much your second job. You know, your first job is fighting. You know, you're doing all these things. You good over there, bro?
No,
The
so
stats?
we were looking at these guys.
Anthony Taylor.
Well, just any of these guys, like what their records are.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
just the record. Yeah.
No, just their records, because I believe there's like a stat where it's like maybe it's like 15 to 280. Like that's 15 wins. These guys collectively only have 15 wins. You know, and obviously
they're just padding the fucking.
well, they're just
record.
padding him. Yeah, I mean he's Tyson Fury's brother. Let's just get him in there with
Like
professionals,
he's
quote
good though.
unquote.
Tyson or
Tommy?
Tommy Fury is really fucking good. Now I don't know if you know this, but he was on the show called Love Island,
Oh, was he?
bro.
Oh my goodness! Of course,
Bro,
you would
the
watch some
woman
shit
who
like that.
disrespected my man's. Who are you? Oh, I'm Tommy Fury. Why are you so famous? I box. My brother's a famous boxer.
Well, that's MMA. I don't think that's the same guy.
Anthony Taylor boxing. Just write that. Boxing fight record.
No, I don't think that's him either.
Anthony. Pretty boy, Anthony Taylor.
No.
Actually, I want to go up. It says the ex-Love Island star came into a fight as more experience with an unbeaten professional record of 12-1, while Taylor comes from an MMA background. So Taylor was an MMA fighter.
Yeah. So click that one. Yeah. Because I think Tyson Fury is the 12-0.
No, that's Tommy.
Oh, no.
The ex
Or
Love
Tommy,
Island.
Tommy, yeah.
That's Tommy. So the guy, this Taylor guy, was an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
It was the same guy. So you found the right guy.
Yeah.
He just wasn't.
But it
an
just
MMA
wasn't
fighter.
that wasn't his boxing record.
So you know, regardless of the situation, is the guy was just padding to him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that just,
But
goes
that's
to
what
show.
all boxers are do. They have this like development time where they only fight guys below them to kind of like boost them, get the following, make them look good, get the practice, all those good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a picture somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it, but it had like all their records together.
Yeah.
You know, boxing and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Interesting.
Yeah. But they just had their records, you
Yeah.
know. So how good is Tommy? We're gonna
think
find
Tommy's
out.
great. I think Tommy's good.
Well, we're really gonna find out.
I think he's really fucking good.
Couple,
I think he's
couple
better
days,
than Jake Paul, but
12 days. So
I understand everybody says, "Oh, this time we're going to see Jake Paul tested." You know,
maybe like
I think this is his real test.
Tommy
of boxing.
Fury's opponents' records, like or combined records.
Yeah,
Like opponents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna see. I think it's a good time to be a combat sports fan. I mean, there's so much going on. The level of competition has just grown. Social media makes fights fun,
yep.
you know, and it's just there's so much going on, you know. What the heck is going on with Colby Covington though?
He's supposed to be fighting. I think they were trying to fight Hamzat,
No,
but not anymore. That was
Robert
the talk
Whittaker
for what?
now.
Now Robert Whittaker versus
Yeah,
maybe Honda. Maybe. We don't
maybe
know
it's
yet.
not
Nothing-
official, but
It's not official.
it sounds
yet.
like they both want it.
They both wanted. They
So-
both fucking won. But I think Colby Covington.
Masvidal's got to fight.
Colby
Leon.
Covington was a potential for Conor McGregor. I think he was in the talks for it, for tough.
Okay,
And then
Maybe like
it
a
was Gilbert
170.
Burns versus Colby Covington as well. Because Gilbert's got some beef with Colby.
Okay, but I think Gilbert has a fight now.
Hear me out. Yeah,
Okay.
he does. Hear
Okay.
me out.
Oh,
Colby
jeez.
Covington.
Oh, Gilbert and Masvidal. Duh. They're fighting each other.
Colby Covington.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Poirier. Come on, bro. Let me see it. Let me fucking see it.
I think it's too late.
Why not? How's it too late?
Because Islam's the champion.
Islam is the champion. Chances are he's gonna
155.
get the rematch probably. Guess who he fights after? Guess who he fights now? After.
Who, Islam?
If Islam doesn't get the rematch with Alex Volkanovski, guess who's in line to fight?
He's going to fight Poirier.
No.
Why?
This is already agreed.
Who?
Whoever the winner is between Charles and Dariush.
Oh, Dariush. I guess so.
Because Dariush, sorry, how you say his last name?
Dariush, yeah.
Yeah.
Benelli.
Super under the radar.
Oh, yeah.
If he beats Charles,
Oh, there we go. So, look, 0-11, 2-26. Look at this guy here. 10-102.
yep.
You know?
Mans is down bad, bro.
I mean, Mans is down bad,
bro.
right? Or a professional, right?
Somebody,
I mean,
when your coach is looking at your record,
yo,
hey,
what-
man,
oh, man.
hey,
That's
man,
it.
you ever thought about doing something else?
Right?
The other guy, the fighter knows exactly. He's like, "Hey man, I told you not to look at that. Yeah, that shit was like a while ago, bro."
But this is what we're talking about.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that's
this is what we're
that's
talking about.
not
So
that's not news to anybody. Everybody.
no,
knows how
yeah.
boxing is,
But this doesn't happen in MMA.
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
it doesn't happen in the UFC.
Are you? God no, and that's why I
Yes.
love the fucking
Yes.
UFC.
Yeah.
It should. Some of these fighters do get that. Some of these fighters get the fast track, which I'm scared for.
Yep.
Rosas Jr. I'm afraid he's getting the fast track.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's what happened with John Jones. He got fast tracked as a young kid at becoming
Yeah.
the youngest UFC fighter.
Yeah, but he still
I know,
won.
I understand,
You
but
still
it's
have
rare.
to win.
I feel like it's rare though. I feel like
Yeah,
it really
yeah,
is rare.
yeah.
But back to what I'm saying, you have Charles Oliveira. If he beats Dariush,
Yep.
he gets the fight because everybody knows that.
I don't think so.
No, he does. I'm telling. This is agreed. This is it.
Okay.
It's between them two.
Nothing's agreed until fight contracts are signed.
Yeah.
Nothing is
Yeah,
official.
but Islam has been kind of a man of his word so far from what we've seen, and he was asked about a pre and post fight
when
conference.
is that fight supposed to happen? Do we know?
Can you look up the fight between Charles Oliveira versus and then just type in D and it'll fill it out because I don't know how to spell his fucking last name.
Yeah. Because if it's 3 months from now, Islam is not waiting. He's not going to wait 9 months
I
to
can
fight
promise
again.
you the damage he took. He has to wait 3 months
I
before he can fight. I promise you.
Maybe.
I can promise you.
maybe well, sure, he's got to wait 3 months, but if the damage between Dariush and Oliveira causes them to get suspended for
Yeah, I
6
know.
months,
This
he's
is
not
why-
going to wait.
This is why the rematch makes sense. Alex Volkanovski, you have an interim belt fighter. Let the interim hold it down. Fight someone else again while Alex fights Islam. It's the fight to make.
I don't think so. I think Volk has to fight.
I would like.
At
I think Volk
145.
is fighting for fighting 145.
He's going to.
But
He
come on,
has to.
let's think about it. The guy has cleared that division so many
but
fucking times.
Poirier just beat Gaethje, right?
Yeah,
So Poirier is right back in the top 3.
yeah, but
So
Dustin Poirier. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
in his next
yeah,
fight.
his next
Charles'
fight. She's
next
Charles
fight.
Oliveira versus I guess Dariush. So go D. Was it A?
DA, yeah.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah, right
Yep.
there. Boom. UFC 288.
Oh, so that's the next card, I think.
Yeah,
Or
it's the
2
next
cards
card.
from now.
4 days. All right, so go to UFC.com. Yeah, just go to UFC.com. Just type it in, yeah. And then you're gonna look up. Hey, it's gonna be that. Hey, the
YFC.
Hey, you know how it is, bro.
It's Johnny's keyboard, right? I mean,
Yeah, for those we're using an old keyboard where the fucking keys are all on the wrong keys. So I like how you blacked it out so we don't see him fuck up again. And then go to events when you're there. So upcoming here, when is this?
Keep going.
February
85. Oh, so look, he's got 4 months till they're gonna fight.
Where's it at? Where did
Well,
you
if
see
they're
them?
88, we're at 85. So there's one each month, right? So 85 is next, and then go down then 86. Then you keep going down 87. They don't even have 88 finished yet.
Hold on. Well, no, you had to scroll through. It could be under a fight card as well.
Well, no, I mean it said the last page said UFC 88.
Hold on.
288.
Keep going.
There's
How to
287.
watch. This isn't usually.
They don't
All right,
even
just
they
scroll
don't
up.
have a main card yet.
Keep scrolling. Up. Yeah. Up one more. Okay, go down. Go to John Jones and hit the arrow to the right.
Well, you can scroll down. Okay.
There
Yeah,
go.
you can do this.
Hit the arrow to the right. Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
Shevchenko.
I know it's not on this card.
All right, go to the card below that one.
Keep going.
That's a UFC fight night. No, keep
No,
going down. Do
yeah,
this
right
one.
there. Nope.
Justin Gaethje. All right, go down. Down. Jesus, they don't even Gilbert Burns at least.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, you are right. So that might be too much time. in
It's too
between,
much time.
but
yeah.
it's just enough time to get a rematch in for Alex Volkanovski.
No, I mean you got Gaethje versus.
So here's my question.
Yep.
Let's say you're right.
Mhm.
Let's say Alex Volkanovski says Islam doesn't want to fight. It's too soon. Whatever. Alex Volkanovski goes to defend his belt against Rodriguez.
Yep.
Right. Who does Islam fight?
Poirier.
Dustin Poirier.
I think so. Yeah. I think Poirier is going to go back to one. If Oliveira had won the title against Islam, Dustin was for sure 170 pounds, right? Oliveira destroyed him.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say destroyed. He submitted him, right?
No, you destroyed him.
So, okay. Well, I mean, so now you have Poirier in limbo, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, I want to go to 170, but now my champion, the guy I just lost to is no longer champion.
I agree. I just don't think the UFC sees it that way. I think the UFC sees it as you lost to Charles Oliveira
Nope.
and Khabib Nurmagomedov. You got choked out by both guys.
I disagree. Poirier is a big name. So
I think he's a big name. I
So
think he
why
is.
not feed him to Islam to build Islam's name?
No, I don't.
You have to.
I think the fans will. The fans will tune in no matter what. Dustin has got a huge volume. He's big. You're right, but
Feed him to Islam.
I don't think it's worth because one, Khabib choked him out, and two, Charles choked him out.
Yeah,
He's been submitted by two of the best one
Yes.
jiu-jitsu practitioner and one
he
wrestler
just
who Khabib has said is better on the ground. And who beat Dustin before was Charles, submitted Charles easily. Do we really want to see that? I would want to because
listen, we can sit here and talk about the fight and who's gonna win.
I don't
and
think Dustin
Islam
gets
would
it, Nick.
destroy
I
him.
don't think Dustin gets it.
But I feel like the UFC feeds Islam doesn't have the big names on his fight record.
No, he
yet,
doesn't. He has to
right?
earn it,
He's
you're
out,
right.
he has Oliveira and now he has Volkanovski.
He hasn't had that path like everybody else.
Yes. So you put him against a big name, regardless of what it is.
I just think for the sake of
you feed
everybody,
him-
I think everybody's more interested in a Charles Oliveira rematch,
It's too long.
right? Or Dariush, because those are the only two ones who are
Well,
interesting.
the thing about Dariush is he's kind of stuck in that spot that Tony Ferguson was stuck in a few years ago, where he was on a 12-fight win streak and never got a title fight.
Yeah.
He got an interim
Yeah.
in the middle of the pandemic when he was training for somebody else and all this other stuff, and Gaethje ended up knocking him out.
You know who Dustin's
But-
in? You know what position Dustin's in? He's in the Robert Whitaker position.
No.
Yeah, Robert Whitaker's in number 2, pretty much below Israel. He's beating all the
I think
guys.
he's 3 now.
Yeah, obviously because Pereira.
No,
right?
I think
Pere-
in that division, Hamzat's 2. Because it was Gilbert Burns was 2, and then he beat Gilbert Burns.
Can you go to rankings? Yeah, in the UFC tab, go to rankings.
And then
All right, so what
keep going down.
what division is he in?
Keep going.
Going down.
He's in Pereira's division.
All right, so go to there. All right, so where is
Oh wait, no, Hamzat's 3rd.
Robert
and then-
Whitaker's number 2?
Yeah, but they got Hamzat in Leon Edwards.
Yeah, because that's not
division.
his true division either.
Yeah, but he fights over here.
I know he does,
You
but
know, I mean-
but regardless, Robert Whitaker's number 2.
I
I'm just
gotcha.
saying,
Yeah.
Robert Whitaker has beaten every same person pretty much that Israel's beaten, and if
Yeah.
it wasn't for Israel and Pereira, he would be number 1.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Dustin. Dustin's beat Connor.
Yeah.
Dustin beats Gaethje.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin beat. Did he? He didn't fight Tony. Did he ever fight Tony?
No,
No.
but Tony's not even in top 10.
Yeah, he's not
anymore,
even.
so,
Yeah, poor man. But yeah, it's the same thing. I feel like Dustin Poirier is the same as Robert Whitaker. He is so good. Everyone forgets about Dustin. Like the whole bloody path he's left.
No,
of
I
bodies.
I agree.
You know,
But he hasn't beat Islam.
I just don't. I don't.
Right here. I mean, Dustin Poirier is 2. Why would you not give him when Charles Oliveira is 1, fighting 4?
Because
Why not in the meantime?
Because business.
What do you mean business? You don't think Poirier versus Islam brings in a
I
crowd?
don't think. I think I would watch it. I'd buy the fight card.
A lot of people would.
Yeah, but guess who buys more fight cards than we do? Casuals. And are casuals really interested in
Yes.
Dustin Poirier fighting another wrestler and jiu-jitsu practitioner that
No,
he
but
lost
see,
in the past?
no. Listen. You're talking as a person who knows.
Damn,
Right?
You're kind of right. You actually kind of got me.
okay.
I'm talking as the guy who already knows.
Who
that,
already
but the
knows.
Casuals don't know that.
Casuals don't
You're
know
right.
that. They know Dustin
forgot.
Poirier's name. So if Islam beats
Hey, you
Dustin,
said some facts right there. Hey, you said some facts right there. Hey, you might be on some shit right now.
but if you say Dustin's name, people know Dustin as the guy who beat Conor McGregor
Right.
twice.
I may retract my statement.
You know, so business wise, it makes sense for them to feed Poirier to Islam. Now, if Poirier can beat Islam, we don't know. I mean, I think Islam destroys him. You already talked about the Habib fight. He holds him down. He's
How
going to
much is that
submit him.
camera
but-
shaking? Is it a lot?
Oh, my bad. I'm like, my bad. I'm
I've
just
been
like
doing it all the
shaking
time
my-
too, bro.
Oh, my bad. So, I mean,
I think you're right. I think you kind of changed my mind there. I think you did because I forgot about the Casuals. Don't really know the path.
if
You
you
know?
do it right, 288 is not set, right? We just saw that UFC 288 is not set, but you got Charles Oliveira and Dariush who are going to fight at 288. Why not make the title fight Islam versus Dustin the main for that card, right? We have in the other card, we have Edwards versus Usman, and then we have
You might
Masvidal
be
versus
right.
Gilbert Burns.
I think that's the only. But this is. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if Islam doesn't get the rematch of, I really strongly believe that they get the rematch immediately. I don't think
so.
Islam likes the taste in his mouth, especially. Hold on, and this is all something that we need to take consideration. The IV.
Okay.
What if
Well,
the IV thing is real and he gets his belt taken away? This changes fucking everything.
Okay, so here's the deal, right? Are you more interested in think as a casual, not a person who knows the game and knows kind of stylistics.
The
and
average
stuff.
person, the
The
casual,
average person. The average person just watched Islam beat Volkanovski. If you go, we're gonna have Islam and Volkanovski again without anything in between, the casual are gonna be like, we already saw this. We don't want this. But now you put Islam, who defends his belt against a 155er. You go back to Volk, who defends his belt against a 145er. Now they're both on win
I think
streaks
that
and,
happens if
you
the
know,
rematch happens. But here's what I will say. I think that scenario discredits how much Volk just earned everyone's respect of the casual. I think after that fight, what Volk did,
Sure.
I think people are now more interested to watch him fight again.
Yeah, but not against the same opponent.
Yes,
You don't do it.
I do think
you don't. You don't do that to somebody who went up and tried to, right? Because Adesanya, now he's not the champion, but he lost to a wrestler in, the 205 pound division,
Yeah.
right? So
Hold on. You can't compare that.
Why
Israel
not?
got dominated in that division. Dominated. Jan Johovic sat on top of him for 3 rounds, and that makes sense what you're saying because there's a clear domination. There's no point in saying, I'm not interested. I don't care what you work on. Alex, pretty much out of everyone's mouth, won.
yeah,
That's different. There's a difference when everyone knows you as the winner.
but casuals don't know
But here's what I'm
the
saying.
scorecards, don't know the
Exactly.
the point
But here's what I
system
think.
and-
I think the casuals are on Alex's side. I really do. I think the
I do
casuals have a
too.
natural hate for Russian wrestlers. I really do.
I
feel
agree. Mm-hmm.
like after what Habib has done to the division, I feel like everybody hates
Yes,
wrestlers.
but you gotta feed Islam a name that makes him
better.
Him better.
On the scorecards
as
in
far
his
as
own
like
division.
casuals and people, right? If you go, oh shoot, Islam's facing the guy who just beat Conor twice. Everybody knows Conor McGregor.
Yeah. I get it.
Everybody knows that
Dustin
Dustin
Poirier, yeah.
starched him in the
But
sleep
you're acting
fight.
like nobody knows Alex Volkanovski. I think
No,
Alex
no,
Volkanovski
no.
has a better following and a better viewership.
But that's not
than
what we're
Dustin.
arguing. We're arguing Islam here. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy
Yeah.
is. Nobody does.
I-
I mean, fans know who he is. Fans know who that is. But if you ask a casual, who's in the 155 division, they're gonna name Justin Gaethje. They're gonna name Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
I don't even think like Oliveira had the name. That.
Yeah, he was building his shit up.
Yes.
too. Yeah,
Right.
get
I
it.
mean, if we look down the list, Michael Chandler.
yeah.
Right. Everybody knows who that is.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who Dariush is.
Yeah.
Right. So the top.
So I get what you're saying. Here's what I'll say.
We're talking about business here. We're
Yeah.
not talking about fights. We're talking about business, and it makes sense business-wise to feed Islam somebody that's going to make his name.
No, what makes sense business-wise is bringing in money now. That's why Conor gets so many cuts in the
No,
line.
no,
That's
no,
why
no.
if Conor beats Michael Chandler,
Yep.
No matter what placement Connor's in or Michael Chandler, Connor gets to fight Islam because it will happen if he does
But
beat.
we can't talk about
Because
that
business makes
because there's
money.
still no
and
fight set.
Exactly. But
No
here's
fight
the,
set.
here's the thing. You know what makes more money? I promise you, Alex Volkanovski and Islam over Dustin Poirier and Islam. I will die on that grave. And you know
Not-
what? And we're gonna figure out what really happens.
Yep. I'm gonna mark this day on my notes.
Yes.
All right, guys. So I literally took notes from our last podcast that we
Man,
talked.
Guys, I want to make this a record. He loves to hear his own voice on podcasts. He said it in the car. He was like,
no.
Johnny, I love to hear my own voice.
That is
I
not what
love
was
listening to
said.
my
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, is that what I said? Now you're lying to your people?
I don't
my
lie. I just told the
goodness.
truth, brother.
Oh, did you?
You were sitting there gloating about your own voice.
No, I said I don't care.
Like he said, I love my voice,
Oh,
bro.
man.
I sound so
Love it.
soothing.
You make me sound so conceited. Jeez. But most of the stuff we talked about like came to fruition.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about freaking let me bring out the notes. No. How about Sugar Sean versus Hamzat? Right?
Hamza. Sugar Sean versus Hamza?
Not like as far as like fighting, but promotion wise, who's getting the push? Right? Hamzat is sitting here at number 3. If we scroll up on this page here, keep going. Yeah, he's in Aljamain's.
Yeah. Sean O'Malley's number 1.
He's number 1 now, but because he beat Peter Yan,
Yeah, I know.
you know, so they're both. I mean, they're both at the top. You know, we
What
both
did I
discussed-
say? Did I say that Sugar Sean was not getting pushed?
No. We discussed how Hamzat was getting the bigger push, but I think that stalled.
Yeah.
With Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, I did.
You know, because
But you know, I still think to this day Sean has a bigger push than Hamza.
you think so.
Did the potential of Hamza having it? Yes. I think he fucked himself over with the Gilbert and the weight cutting and all that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that really left a bad taste, and now they're like, okay. But I think towards the end,
Yeah.
Sean got
Here
the bigger
recently, Sean has
Yeah.
been getting a push. Does Sterling have a fight? I don't think so.
Sterling does have a fight, and we're not even sure yet, which is kind of fucking annoying. Because Sterling is supposed to fight, I think, Sean O'Malley, and we don't know what's happening because Sterling's going to Cuba to get fucking injections in his shoulder stem cells.
Yeah.
So we don't have a definite answer.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he has a fight contract.
I'm pretty. I can you look up Aljamain Sterling next fight? No, wait, he was on the events. I'm pretty sure I saw him on events. Yeah, go to events.
No.
I'm pretty sure I saw him on events.
No, listen, I'm the one with the brain injury here. No way you saw him. Jan, Leon, Cheeto. Yeah, he don't have a fight.
Yeah, just do a search with Aljamain Sterling next fight. No, in the search bar. Type something on ESPN. I'm pretty sure he is supposed. But I think there is no definite because we're waiting on his answer on the stem cell with his shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think it's either Sean or some other fighter tweeted and posted like, "Who am I fighting, bro?"
Yeah.
And I think Sean just said, "I'm still gonna get ready because right now no one knows because
Yeah.
they're supposed to fight, we just don't know." So,
So-
Aljamain Sterling confirms Henry Cejudo. That's who it is. Henry Cejudo as next opponent
So,
targets
yeah.
March for bantamweight title, and we're waiting
Yes.
on a stem cell. And
So-
then Sean said, "Is Aljamain fighting Cejudo or not?" But I'll get ready for the backup fight just in case it doesn't fall
So
through.
here's what we talked about last podcast too. We talked about 2 people that are dodging each other till they reach the top 5. How about Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera?
No, I don't think they're dodging each other.
Well, no, we talked. I don't think they're
were just
dodging.
I think they were waiting to the end to see.
Well, I think
who
the
would-
UFC
yeah.
was waiting,
Yeah.
right? Now Cheeto has a fight,
Yes,
right? We saw that.
I think
he's
I-
a couple
here's what I
months
think-
from now, but
here's what I think the UFC and Sean understand. Because say what you want about Sean, Sean understands the game.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Connor. He understands the game. Mm-hmm. I think Sean purposely, when he realized he was climbing up the ranks, I don't want to fight Cheeto Vera. I want to wait until
Yes.
I become champion,
Well-
so we can sell it.
or one of them become champion, right? Because, like you said, the cell. Oh, was it really a loss? Was it not a
Yes,
loss?
yes.
Was
There's
it?
something
you
there.
know,
There's a
like,
story.
There's a
There's a
story.
story.
Exactly. And the fact, I think when Cheeto knocked out Frankie Edgar with that freaking front kick, you know,
First of all, should have never fought. Okay.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
Frankie
yeah.
Edgar
I
should
mean-
never gone. Should never been matched. And 2, can we talk about how much shit Aljamain still gets?
yeah. I mean, well, we also talked about because our last one was right after Aljamain.
Beat Peter the first time or the second time?
First
time, I
he
think it was
didn't
the
beat him the first time. He got
Disqualified, yeah.
yeah, Peter got disqualified. But then we never really talked about the second fight where I think we both thought Peter Yan was going to run
Yeah,
through
I was
this
upset
guy.
with Peter Yan.
Yeah.
I felt like he didn't. I feel like he didn't understand who he was fighting. I was really upset that he wasn't scrambling, that he was letting him close the gap and out wrestle him.
Yeah.
I really was. I feel like Peter Yan can beat Aljamain most of the time. I just
Well,
think he didn't come.
a lot of people thought Peter beat Sean. Or Pewter, I think is how you pronounce
Pewter
it.
Yan.
Pewter Yan,
Yeah.
right?
Debatable. I can see that argument. I really could.
Right?
I
So
really
now
could.
we have 1 and 2 who are close. And now,
Well, Peter Yan's got to fight now.
I think he fights the number 3 here. I don't know. I know he's got to fight in the events,
he's
but
gotta
I don't
fight.
know who he's fighting. Cheeto's got to fight. What's up with the UFC putting these top 5 guys on?
Oh, that's
fight
right.
nights?
Alex Pantoja is the only guy I think who beat Brandon before.
Okay. Listen, looking at the 125 division, I don't know anybody on that
Yeah,
list.
it's still growing. The only reason
Right?
why is
I
because
mean-
David Figueiredo and Moreno and Kai France
Yeah,
are the only guys.
those are the only 3 guys you know, right? So,
Bro, shout out to Alex, bro, for being the fucking pound for pound.
for
number.
pound.
It's so good to see.
still,
Bro, listen to me. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm mark it right now in history. If any other reason was not a reason for Islam to take the rematch, realizing that the rankings came out again, and Islam at the end goes, guys, today I prove I'm pound for pound, and they're like,
nah, no,
I think Islam takes it. I'm telling you, the rematch happens. I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I mean, we'll find out. We got time. We got
Keep it on
time.
notes.
Yep.
These boys,
So-
bro. I'm telling you, Robert Whitaker. You know what I like about Robert Whitaker is he's a gamer.
Oh
He
yeah.
loves playing
Oh
PC
man.
games, bro. I'm pretty sure he's playing Last of Us again.
Oh,
Speaking
is
of,
he?
Have you watched the show The Last of Us?
Okay, so I'm not a PlayStation person, so I've never played the game.
Get the
I've
fuck
never
out.
watched. I've always been Xbox, and then
You
now I'm
hearing this shit
recently
right now,
PC.
Tristan?
So I've never. I shouldn't say never. The last time I had a PlayStation was PlayStation 2.
Damn.
Okay,
Damn.
so
That's OG right
I
there.
mean, that's the last time I
That's
owned a
kind of
PlayStation.
valid though. That's kind of
you
valid
know?
though.
Xbox 360, Xbox
Ring
One,
of Death, baby.
now
Missed
PC. Red Ring of Death. I know, I got it. I did the
Who
towel
didn't
trick
get it,
until I
bro?
got my box, and then
Who didn't do the Red Ring of Death?
But now I got PC where I can play Xbox games on it. You know, they port most of the games
Have you
over.
watched the show at all?
I haven't. I don't want to watch the show. One, because the guy we talked about last time from The Mandalorian's in it.
Yes. And
Right,
you didn't like the Mandalorian?
No, I like The Mandalorian, but we kind of talk politics there, and you know, you don't remember? Okay, we
Baby,
won't talk
bring
about
up the
it.
politics. I don't
No,
give a damn.
no. We talked about how the one chick got fired from
Yeah,
Disney.
I remember that.
and
Yeah,
blah,
but
blah,
what does
blah,
that
right?
have to do with you not watching The Last of Us?
I don't know. I just try to stay away from stuff like that. You know.
You're not
but-
getting into it by watching the show. It's not even on Disney. It's
but-
on HBO.
But do you support? Do you? All right, we won't talk about that. But
Support what?
I will watch the show, but I think
Oh
I want
my
to play the
God.
game. I think I
Hold
want
on.
to play the game first.
So you're telling me that you haven't watched it because you don't want to support the casting
Yes.
and what Disney
Yep,
did.
100%.
By the way, he's not on a Disney film right now. But you're saying because
No,
he
but-
accepted that
well,
role,
no, I mean, they
you
just
like the bad taste.
March 1st, Mandalorian
Okay.
season 3 comes out, so
I
he's
understand.
still
so
employed.
so you're sitting there,
and-
you're like, your boy's still pro, whatever.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, are you going to play the new, that being said, are you going to play the new Hogwarts Legacy?
Okay, so we talked about this in the car, right? I'm on a 30-day
Gaming fast.
gaming fast.
Yes.
Right? I own Hogwarts Legacy. I pre-ordered the deluxe digital edition, so I could have played 5 days early,
So,
and I still
I'm
have not
keeping
played
the
it.
same energy you gave me about the Mandalorian, right?
Okay.
You
Mm-hmm.
are transphobic.
Okay. Sure. However, J.K. Rawlings has no ties to this game.
Okay.
No ties. Well,
Okay.
because she created the universe.
Yes, it's hers, yes.
It's not, but it's not. She has no ties. She has no story. She has
I'm just
nothing.
saying she
She's
create-
not even
But
credited
you're
in the freaking.
supporting it. You're
I'm supporting-
supporting her universe.
I'm supporting WB, who supports trans people.
Yeah, but
So how can we-
But also chose to use the game of someone else's opinion that goes against their opinion
No,
as
but
well.
it's not going to. They're not even using her
Listen,
opinion.
I'm not saying you're.
No, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying
no.
you're. I'm not saying you're
this is-
transphobic. I don't
no,
think
no, no,
I would buy
no,
the
no,
game.
no.
I'm not transphobic. I'm fine. I'm just saying I'm keeping the same energy.
That's not
with
the
you.
same energy.
It
That's,
is.
No, it's not.
How's it not?
Okay, is J.K. Rowling's mentioned at all in the game? Is she in the credits? Is she in the game?
She's got to be in the credits.
No, she's not.
That's a lot. That's got to be a lawsuit then.
Well, they may. I don't know about the credits. All right,
They
so
gotta
because I
be
haven't
the
played
credits.
it. But
Bro, the
I mean,
credits
let's
is
look
what
it
it's
up.
for. It's
But I don't
credit
think
to who
she's-
made the fucking universe, and it's her.
Yeah, but yeah, she's credited in the game, but I don't think so. And because nothing in the game, other than like the universe it's in, is credited,
All right,
right?
so let me say
so
this then.
I think it's her business that's credited too, not her personally.
Here's what I think. I think that the guy who plays Mandalorian, obviously,
Sure.
Pedro.
Pedro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
maybe he's like, I don't support what Disney did by firing my fellow actor for her political views, but I want money to feed my kids. I love the Star Wars franchise, despite what Disney, because what
No,
Disney
he
may
was
have.
totally cool with it.
I understand.
Yeah.
But what if he just says that just to get money? We don't know. And then he goes out to make HBO. We don't know. The same way
listen,
you're looking
listen.
at it, he could be looking at it like that.
Here's the thing: is we talked about this last time. What people do politically doesn't affect like what I watch or what I like support and stuff like that, right?
Unless it's a Mandalorian.
Did you find something?
Actually, yeah, he's right. She's
What?
not in the credits at all.
So
Bring it
okay.
up. Let me see it. No way. What's this on? We got this discovered gaming. Okay. Did J.K. Rowling appear in Hogwarts Legacy credits while Rowling's body of work has served as the basis of the game series? It might come as a surprise that she is not featured in the game credits at all. In fact, we watched through the entire thing twice just to make sure this seems to match up with the frequently asked question posted in the game's official website with the developer Avalanche Software explaining that she was not involved with the creation of the game. They also make note that they have collaborated closely with her team on all aspects of the collaborative. So wait, she wasn't involved with the game, but her team.
So I think just to get the universe right, in the sense of like what's in Hogwarts.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna let you know, Gary. I literally thought you were wrong there.
Okay.
She's okay with not being in the credits. That's crazy. Yeah, because usually credits go out to anybody because it's part of the credit. It's like when there's different Batman movies, you got Robert Pattinson and all that stuff. Just because they're not the same actors and stuff, they're Warner Brothers is at the end because it's credits.
Warner Brothers
And DC, no matter what they
DC,
made.
sure,
'cause
but
it's credits.
DC is who created the universe, right? So like if we watch Star Wars,
She created the universe.
George Lucas isn't mentioned in the 3 new Star Wars film credits, but Lucasfilms is.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
Right?
It's
So-
in the beginning. It says Lucasfilm.
yeah, Lucasfilms, but that's not George Lucas. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
But
think
he is at the same time, though.
well, yeah, but I mean she's not mentioned at all.
Yeah,
so I
but
can't be
her company
transphobic
is.
if sure they used her
right,
universe,
all right.
but not her
Okay, so
thing.
the better question
So-
would be if she was credited in it and she was involved in the making of it, would you still play it? God damn it, you would.
Yeah, but I mean, I would probably watch. I'm gonna watch Last of Us too,
Okay,
just so I can talk about
Okay.
it. You know, so I'm not saying I've never played the games. Have you played the game?
Oh, the last, of course,
Yeah.
yes. But I never played the expansions just because I didn't want it to be.
I'm
played
not
the first one.
into these
First one's the best one.
cinematic movie games,
You're a bitch.
right?
You're a bitch too.
I mean, it's you're walking through a movie essentially, right? Exactly. So I could
It's
just
a movie
watch.
you can play. That's what made it so good.
Yeah, but that's boring to me.
You play
I
Red
have
Dead
no-
Redemption or anything?
I've
like
played
that?
Red Dead.
It's
Yeah,
the same thing.
No, it ain't. No, you get to make
How's it not?
choices. You can
You
change.
get to make choices in the game too, in The Last of Us.
Yeah, but you don't get to. You get to create your own type
I
of
guess
character.
you're right. It is an open world, but
Yeah.
that didn't come till after, right? Until the storyline came out. Like that was developed later, or no?
No, it's like a
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto.
But it's the same thing. When you play the storyline, you get options. You get to pick what you want to say. You interact, and then once whatever you pick, there's a story that comes up.
Sure.
You'll see when you play.
Yeah, but it's not the same as having free will to do
guess.
whatever you want.
But
right?
still, I mean,
So-
you know what it's more like?
yes,
You know what it's
Yeah.
more like? You know what it's more like?
it's like those the Walking Dead
Halo.
series.
It's like Halo.
It's like Halo.
Yep.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
How's it not? There's a storyline for Halo that everybody loves.
No.
Cortana, Master Chief, what happened? Oh, there's a storyline. It's a movie. It was one of the first games to do such great business with cinematic injections.
Johnny, I'm gonna say off camera. I'm gonna have to educate you on games. Okay.
How is that not?
Because sure, there's a story, but it's playable, right?
How is The Last of Us not playable?
I mean, I don't know. I've never really played
That's
it.
what I'm saying. When you play it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is playable." Tristan didn't even play the fucking game, so don't even look at him for
can't
your
look at him for confirmation,
No, he hasn't
yeah.
even, he's on the same boat as you.
Yeah, well, that's it. Halo's known for its multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
Last
no,
of Us
Halo was
doesn't.
known for its storyline first, and then it developed into
No,
the multiplayer.
no,
yes,
no, no. You
yes.
are crazy.
It's the
You
same.
are
It's the same thing
crazy.
as Call of Duty. When Call of Duty came out, it was never multiplayer. It was the Call of Duty that came out that was about World War. I played.
I'm gonna walk out. You're
Did
crazy.
you guys
You're
never
crazy.
played the storylines before it became multiplayer? Before it became anything?
No.
Oh, you guys aren't gamers. Then.
Multiplayer.
You guys
is what
aren't
it is.
gamers. Then I'm sorry. I remember buying the
not
first two
gamers?
games of Call. I remember playing the first 2 games of Call of Duty. And there was no multiplayer, and I still played that story on easy, medium, and hard because it was so fucking good.
You're crazy. You're
I am
crazy.
the outlier, I
No, you're
guess.
crazy.
I guess I'm just a true appreciator.
Those games are known for their multiplayer.
Now they are. Yeah,
They
but-
were before.
But when they first
Halo
started,
1
they weren't multiplayer.
Yes, it was. Halo 1 was so revolutionary in the
For
fact that you
multiplayer,
could.
yeah.
It's multiplayer.
Yeah. I
It's
think
split
that's when
screen.
it grew the most. Yes, but I think what gained its traction was the storyline with Master Chief.
No.
Everybody to this day
No.
talks about it. There's so many memes on TikTok where people are like my favorite part, and it's like when you find that sniper rifle in the campaign, and you hear it.
Yeah, I mean the campaign in the first 3 games
Yes.
were its moments, but it's known for its multiplayer. Okay, bro. It is.
All right. TikTok, make your fucking decision.
Yeah,
Let me know.
Let us know in the comments.
I'll fucking die on this bit.
You
Fuck
got
you
you got to
guys.
clip this, and then we got to freaking
Yeah, and then we'll put up a
decide.
toll, yes.
Yeah. But I know I'm going to destroy you.
Okay,
Because everybody plays Halo.
How mad
for
are you going to
multiplayer.
be if everybody in the comments say,
Well, they're only
it
going to
was a
do that
campaign?
because they're your fans, and I'm just here as a guest. So you know.
One right now.
Yeah, exactly.
by a kid who's never, oh my God. Dude.
So yeah, I mean, so I'm on the video game, fasting. So I haven't played Hogwarts Legacy to get back to the thing. It's got a lot of good reviews though. A lot of people. The problem with the reviews is that disclaimer that comes at the end. I'm not transphobic because I played this game, or you know what I
Wait,
mean?
there's actual reviews where people write that at the end?
Yeah, a lot of them will
See what's happening to
go.
streamers? People are going hate raids on streamers that are playing the game.
Yes, yeah.
On Twitch?
Look
There's so
up-
many people. Oh, I'll fucking do it.
Look up it's Wired Hogwarts Legacy review. It literally got a 1 out of 10 because it takes place in J.K. Rowling's universe.
What do you mean?
They literally in the description they go, this game's great. It's got great RPG aspects. Open world's awesome. The amount of the broom is awesome, right? But it got a 1 out of 10.
There is no
There's
magic
no
in
magic,
Hogwarts
yep.
Legacy. The game is mid
Mid.
at best, and
But-
its real world
but-
harms are impossible to ignore.
It's real world harms because what? Because it's a J.K. Rowling's,
Easy on the table, kid.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, it's by Wired, it looks like.
Uh-huh.
And this is our site. But who wrote the review?
Probably, I think the site did, right? The story is rooted
Wow, look
in
at that.
anti-Semitic tropes.
The story is rooted in anti-Semitic tropes. The gameplay feels dated. The graphics feel like they're a couple generations behind. First of all, I
Not
saw the
true.
gameplay. That's
Yeah,
fucking
not
dumb.
true. Yeah.
That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
They-
all the characters are one-dimensional. Okay, it doesn't stay true to established
false. We
lore.
just
Every
learn,
character feels like an off-brand version of the characters we know and love. There's no sense of place, no magic, no heart.
Right? All
Yikes, y'all! I don't even smoke, and I feel like I need a cigarette before I get this thing started. Okay, well, whatever. We're here to talk about the Hogwarts Legacy and to do what we need to discuss the whole mess. Pull up a chair, pour yourself some tea, wrap yourself in a blanket, scream into a pillow because it's one's gonna take a lot out of both of us or get heavy. Wow, sounds like you're projecting your viewpoints.
Yeah,
Hogwarts
literally-
Legacy is a third-person action RPG. It's in the same universe of the classic Harry Potter series of the children's book. In case you need a refresher, those books, Wizard World setting, and the Harry Potter film franchise are all intellectual property of brainchildren of author J.K. Rowling. This is important because she's also been inseparable from her work and from work that she's inspired and licensed for better and now mostly for worse. Mostly for worse. Okay. You should put that in quotations. Nothing in the wizard world, yada, yada, yada. Within the pages of the book, she's made an ordinary, extraordinary. She said, no.
And I was just going to go into her anti-Semitic stuff. Like,
Ranting,
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
there's a
Like-
lot of projecting here.
But-
I don't hate her. I would honestly be easier if I did. Inside me somewhere, there's a kid who still loves her despite everything. That kid has a lot of experience loving people who hurt. Bro, what the? She said, I don't hate her. I would honestly be easier. It would honestly be easier if I did. Inside me somewhere, there is a kid who still loves her despite everything. That kid has a lot of experience loving people who hurt her. Shut the fuck up.
Right?
I don't ask you for your fucking. I didn't ask.
But
like-
this is the shit you see, right? Like, it literally got a 1 out of 10 because of her personal grudges
Who wrote
with
this?
J.K.
Who
Rowling.
wrote this article? This review and article?
I
Scroll
mean,
down. It should tell you at the very
a
end.
worker of the Wired.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna tell us.
yeah.
Jane Rodriguez Grace is a product writer and reviewer at Wired covering coffee, sex. So it's okay. So it's done by.
Yeah, I was do a search on her because I mean,
Is that a?
I mean, I hate to be offensive, but it almost looks like a transgender.
I don't know who that
I
is.
mean,
I don't know.
I don't know who it
who
is.
the fuck that is. Yeah, go to the Instagram. Go to the Instagram. Well, what's her bio say? The bio goes crazy. Journalist, illustrator. Gay.
Literally.
Okay.
I mean, come on now. No offense, I have nothing against
You
it,
won't be
but
able to
like,
see. Just keep scrolling down.
yeah. I was saying some of the draws down there were, but this
That's
is what you're
stupid,
seeing
yeah.
all over, right? They're literally judging the game and having hate parties on Twitch for people that play this game.
8 best vibrators, cheap, powerful, and flexible. Oh my
her.
god!
By her. Yeah. I mean,
On spare time, writes reviews and her childhood trauma on a
About
Hogwarts
it.
Legacy game. But then on the other side,
Yep.
if you want to know the best vibrator to use,
so
damn,
So-
she has got all the
sex tech,
vibrators,
right?
Yeah, dude.
But it's this is the shit we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
Like they're having
stupid.
hate
It's fucking
parties
stupid.
because of, and again, we talked about just like 20 minutes ago, J.K. Rowling's had nothing to do with this, not credited, totally separate. Sure,
But do
they're
you feel
using
like
her-
you're a little hypocritical for saying the things you said about not watching the rest of the Mandalorian, your viewpoints of
Okay.
not watching, and some people, because there is some correlation between those type of two thoughts.
Yes and no. Okay, so sure, can I be seen as hypocritical for saying like I watched? But here's the thing: is I watched The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know.
I don't not watch it because of my views on what Disney did to I can't think of her name now, but the Cara Dune character
Yeah.
and Pedro, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. Because there is a little bit of hypocritical of saying,
But
well,
it's-
I don't want to
think what
watch
you're
it
trying
because
come
of
into, I think you're coming to like it's a little gray.
it's a gray area because it's different.
Yeah.
Right? This is somebody who has taken somebody's characteristics and throwing it into a game review that somebody had nothing to do with,
Yeah.
right? Just because it's in the Harry Potter world, right, doesn't mean that
Yeah.
they have the same views.
So what you're telling me right now is you're like, I'll still watch Mandalorian
Yep.
despite what they did. To
What my
the-
views
well,
are. Yeah.
And okay.
You know, yeah, exactly. You have
Separate
to.
the art from.
Yeah.
Look at my man over
Yeah.
here. He's killing it, guys. By the way, the man behind the screen is co-pilot Mr. Tristan Ignacio. So he's also my editor on a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I will tag him in this. He's a fucking dope guy.
So it's a little different, right? I mean,
So really, there are hate raids going on Twitch
Yeah.
for that.
Yep.
So like, I'm pretty sure Lulu was streaming it. I wonder if she got it and like a bunch of. Can you type in Twitch hate raids? I want to for the game. That's crazy. I didn't know that was going on.
yeah.
So what you're saying is fuck the bullshit. I'm gonna play this bitch.
Well,
once I'm
of
off my
course,
30-day
yeah,
game
of
fast.
course, yeah.
Because Gary is on a 30-day game fast.
Yep. Yeah.
30-day gay fast.
Oh yeah.
Some would say.
No, I mean, I just focusing on health, focusing on my relationships, whether it be friends, family, my girl. Like, I felt like I'm a gamer through and through, but I felt like I was separating myself from these relationships because I would rather play games.
Yeah, and that's very common with gamers, especially passionate gamers, I should say.
Yeah.
Normal gamers, casual gamers, you come out for it, just play, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That's nothing. But when you're a
So-
passionate gamer, when you look forward to progressing yourself in a game or to
Mm-hmm.
get better, you really start to go down this hole
Yeah.
of operating by yourself, disclosing yourself. You start putting priorities to the side because
Yes.
there's an objective to play. And it sucks because, one, there's sides to this that you get a huge amount of release of dopamine from playing these games. And
Yeah.
the more you play, the more you're frying, pretty much your release on
Sure.
dopamine. So you're not going to get the same level of, release when you're doing your normal day activities or anything that would normally bring you joy. So you start getting depressed more, which is common with gamers. They get depressed.
Yeah.
They don't find joy as much. Their sleep rhythm is off and just a bunch of factors. So it's really good to do a fast of games.
Yeah.
Which I kind of ended up doing when I started doing the podcasting and like a bunch of other things. I started playing games less, and yeah, my skill suffers from it. But then I'm like, it's better for my health
Yeah,
because
I mean-
I have a healthier life outside.
Sure.
When I'm doing
and that's what matters, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes gamers, if we're going to just classify gamers, right? Games become their life, right? You plan around your game. You know, I've got a good friend. He knows who he is, and I tell him all the time, right? Like, if he has a raid scheduled, it's
down, baby. We fucking up.
Well, that's it,
We
right?
going in, baby.
Well, that's it, right? And well, it's like, you know, sometimes relationships, you know, can suffer. He's not so bad with it, but like you see it a lot of times where it's like, well, I can't go out to dinner because I got to do this, or I can't hang out with you. And I was doing that, right? Like I would go to work, I'd come home, and,
Not shower,
you know,
just go straight to game.
yeah, I mean, I would shower because I like
says
to.
he
I'm
showers.
clean, but you know, but like if I didn't have my daughters at the house because I got them 50-50,
Yeah.
if I don't, I'm jumping on my game and I'm
Yeah.
playing for 10, 12 hours. And stuff suffers. My
Yeah.
schoolwork was suffering. My work life was suffering in the sense
common,
of like,
right? Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of
So
people.
how long have you been?
I started January 29th. So I started 2 days before because February is the shortest month.
Yeah.
I wanted to do 30 days. So the last day of February will be my last day of fasting.
Nice. How you feel?
I feel great. I'm really focusing on health. I mean, we talked about it. I started jujitsu back up 3 weeks ago. So I've been trying to just start with 3 days a week, cutting calories, just trying to lose a little bit of weight, you know. But I wanted these things to become routine in this 30 days. So then games become the supplement on the outside.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to quit gaming. That's just, I've gamed my whole life.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be the focus of my life.
That's like the best way to go about it. You know,
know?
unless it's your career, you make money
Yeah,
off streaming.
sure,
that
for
kind
sure.
Of
And I
which I
don't-
think that's the fucking life. That would be fucking awesome.
of course. I
Making
mean-
millions just streaming, like
Yeah.
Nick Merckx, like XQC, all these other guys. That'd be for the fucking dream.
Yeah.
All right, it's not worth getting bullied endlessly. Major streamers are already avoiding Harry Potter game of Hogwarts Legacy due to the relentless cyber bullying. This is brought to you by Fandom Wire. Hogwarts Legacy has been a long time invited game. Both gamers, Potterheads alike, based on the Harry Potter book series, J.K. Rowling. Yeah. This game was. Yeah. Now that
look
the
how
game's
good that
available, early access, Twitch streamers all around the world can have a go at the game, have experience at a base trying to game out. Okay, scroll down. Streamers step away from Harry Potter's Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy is an open world adventure game that the gamers enter the world and whatever. But streamers on Twitch who have early access to the game are now avoiding playing it under circumstances. They are being endlessly harassed and bullied for playing the game, or even trying it out. No matter how big or small the streamer may be, they are getting a lot of hate for playing the game. You know what I have to say to that is fuck them.
Okay, so let's talk about like the Hogwarts world, right? Have you seen the latest Fantastic Beasts?
I've never gotten into any of that.
Okay, so one, they replaced Johnny Depp
I understand.
because of all the shit that was
we
going on
ever
with
heard.
him, right? Two, they made Dumbledore gay.
So
Okay,
they're trying to be woke.
in a sense, right? So we're talking
I mean, hold
about
on, wait
like,
a minute. Hold on. Can I just stop you there? Hey, listen, bro. That dude might have been gay. Is it really that hard to believe?
No.
Like, I'm saying, I get it. Like, there's a guy there's a stretch, but like, hey, bro, I'm saying, if there was a moment for a guy to be gay in Harry Potter, I'm sorry, it's Dumbledore, Mr. Dumbledore. I don't care what anybody says, bro. I never seen Poon. I never seen him chasing. The dude was looking after a little boy all the time, bro. I'm telling you, that kid, that guy.
Okay, so regardless of the
Sorry.
idea of him
I'm saying
being
it's
gay,
a great way to make someone gay.
like
is
because
Dumbledore.
I have nothing against somebody being gay. I don't. I have gay friends. I've got gay family members. Like I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
And this is what we said last time. I don't care what you do. You want to be a freaking tranny? Like good for you. Like go do it. But don't force me to like believe the same. Don't force me to not play this game
Yeah,
that doesn't have any of that stuff in it because of your views.
yeah.
Don't try to bully me. And here's the other thing, right? It's okay for you to bully me for playing this game, but as soon as I say, nah, you a dude, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
My career's over.
Hypocritical,
My
some
life
would
is
say.
over. Right? Exactly. 100%. You have freedom of speech. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. That's not right. You know, if you're going to be able to say what you want to say, I should be able to say what I want to say.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while too, a lot with Twitch streamers and all this stuff. Because I mean, this has been going on with like it's hypocritical along the lines of people bullying each other and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And when you think about it, a lot of these girl streamers, you know, for a while, if you were a big time streamer and you're a guy playing a game with your shirt off or for a cut off tee and your nip shows, you had a potential of getting suspended, ban or whatever. But then you got girls on the other end who are in a hot tub and half naked bikinis up their ass.
Yeah.
And, you know, just a bikini right here, and they're drawing on themselves doing ASMR like they're sucking dick, and they don't get any trouble just because they're not under the category of gaming. They're under hot tub stream.
Sure.
Like, it's stupid, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and there's
yeah.
hypocrisy in that.
It is, right? And it's what makes money.
Yeah.
Right? Is if
Well, that's stupid. You shouldn't be getting mad at any of that. Like,
Yeah.
do I think people who play Zelda are fucking people who get no poon and are just lame, who have horrible story taste? Yes. But am I going to go out here and go to their streams and call them
says
lame?
the dude who's probably never played Zelda.
I played
but-
Zelda. I got bored of it so fast, bro.
Oh, you're
so
crazy.
fast. It was the same thing with Sonic. I hated Sonic too. I couldn't
Yeah,
play
but
Sonic.
So Sonic is a completely different game.
I know it is, but those
Sonic's
are
a
just games
platforming
that
game,
everybody
you know?
loved playing that I didn't like playing. You know, that's just me though. You know,
Yeah, well,
this is
that's-
coming from the guy who never played Last of Us, by the way.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
but yeah, no, I get it. Like anybody should be able to play anything. You know, just because you play a game
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you're a Hogwarts fan or you're
Yeah.
a Harry Potter nerd doesn't mean you support. No, like it's the
Yeah,
same
I don't
thing.
support J.K. Rowling.
It's the same idea what people have when Latinos voted in Miami for fucking Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't that doesn't mean they're against their own people. Like they just have their own viewpoints
Yeah.
and they played it for that. That doesn't mean anything. You know, like when people figured out that Jorge Masvidal literally voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, we're appalled.
Yeah.
Like what? A guy who fled a communist country with his fucking father doesn't think it's that bad here and wants to vote for Donald Trump. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. Like
There's a nice video that people should go look up one time. It talks about, or Masvidal talks about why he voted for Trump. And I can't remember
I can
all the
understand the
snippets,
basis
but
of it. I mean, if you
I
know
mean-
anything of the Latin culture and what that country went through, you know, with Fidel, like it's horrible. It's like that country was horrible. It should never like that's a true dictator. That is a true communist. It is horrible.
Yeah.
like it's bad. Like
Yeah.
that's true. Like I have so many foreign friends who are different from the countries, and I ask them the same question just because I want to make sure that I'm still true to what I think and see if they even like. Yeah, it's a form of validation for me, but you'll never know until you ask somebody from a different country. And I asked them, "How do you think of America? How do you think?" He goes, "Oh, it's great here." I'm like, "What do you think of like the politics?" He goes, "You guys have it easy here. You guys bitch about everything."
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Now, that's no reason for like, oh, because we have it better than other countries doesn't mean like we should ignore the problems here.
Sure.
But everybody's blowing it out of proportion.
Well, we take for
We're
granted.
suffering. You're not suffering.
Well, we take for granted what we have.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and
that'll be the
that's-
downfall.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, it'll be a downfall. But will it though? I mean, it's we have the politics in place that we have, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, in our eyes.
Yeah.
You know, we've been here for 200 years now. You know, it's. I was talking to somebody the other day, and when I was mentioning this, strong people don't have to tell you they're strong.
They don't. You're right.
Right? We have all this noise of, you know, gay rights, transphobic rights, the LGBT community, right? That's what's loud right now. And it's because they're looking for something they don't have.
Yeah.
What it is, I don't know. Maybe it's just respect. Because at this point, I don't think there's anything holding them back, right? If you're gay and you're married, you get the
I
same
think Dave
rights.
Chappelle said it the best. You guys won.
Yeah.
Like when he made this skit where he's like, I'm proud of you guys. You guys won. Teach us how to do it. You know, we suffer just like you. He's like, hold up, bitch.
Yeah.
You ain't suffer just like us.
You literally, so you literally said that in the last.
Oh, did I?
in the
Oh,
last
that's
podcast we
hilarious,
did.
bro.
Yeah,
That's
you
fu-
literally used
'cause
that same point.
It's so fucking true.
Yeah. But, you know, at some point, right, the strong people aren't saying anything right now. Because from Donald Trump to Joe Biden, my life has not changed. Sure, inflation's up, gas prices are up, I got to pay a little more money out of pocket, but I still have the essentials of what I do, right? I go to work, I make my money, it comes in the same, you know, nothing in my lifestyle has changed. And that's the fact for a lot of people,
Yeah, that's the average person.
right? The average person
Yeah, what we're hearing is the minority who are
Yes.
just vocal.
who are vocal,
That
right?
doesn't mean that's everyone.
At some point when their views and their stuff starts impeding on
That's
the
where it's a
strong
problem,
people's
yeah.
lives, then it will stop because the strong people will then start being vocal. And they'll start no.
Yeah.
And I think we proved it with the first Donald Trump election, right? We wanted something different. I say we, but people wanted something different. A non-politician comes out and says he's going to run for president. He runs. And despite what you feel about the Twitter stuff or the stuff in his past or whatever it is, things got better. In as far as like financially, things like that. Some people would argue certain points didn't get better, but economically, our country was the best it had been for a long time. And I think we saw that shift of, okay, well, when stuff starts impeding on people's lives, that's when the strongs are, no, not going to happen, you know? And I don't think any of us care if somebody I shouldn't say any of us, because there are some people that care. But, John, if you want to be a woman, I will talk to you. I will respect you. I will do anything that you want me to do in the sense of, like, you want to be called a she? I'll call you a she. But do I agree with it? I don't. But you shouldn't force me to agree with you.
Yeah.
That's not right. You know? Because now, I don't know how to... It's just hypocritical. You know, ultimately.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I think the frustration that we have in politics now is the enforcement of something that you don't have to do.
Sure.
So I don't have to call you she, he, him, they. I don't have to. I will, but if you're telling me I have to, then we have a problem.
And
it's kind of like the same thing. So I don't care if you don't want to own a gun. I don't care if you don't want to protect your family from anything.
Yeah.
I'm
don't take that from me.
But now you're telling me because that's what you think. Now you're telling me that I have to go by what you think. That's where it goes wrong.
Yes.
And I understand why people are like that, you know. And I think, you know, what we hear are the vocal of the small, you know. But I think you're right, 100%. I don't know, bro. While we're on the topic of this, satellites that are getting shot down.
Apparently no aliens.
Apparently no
aliens.
At first, there was some rumors saying, like, if you figured out what it really was, if you knew what it really was, it's not. I think, and I quote was from like some podcast I was listening to. It's not as romantic as people would think it would be.
Sure,
like it's not aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the government or whatever, someone released a statement. I don't try to dive too into it because I get too deep. Says it's not aliens, and it did the reverse. You're like, it's motherfucking aliens.
No, well,
and it does a complete reverse.
It started with somebody.
Somebody thought it was Mexican balloon satellites.
I don't know what they are.
No one knows.
I mean, somebody says Chinese. Somebody says
Here's
Mexican.
Here's what I know.
It's not ours.
Here's what I know. They didn't tell Trump. It's been there for a while.
Yeah.
They didn't tell Trump there were Chinese had some infiltration of what we were doing. Okay. China had some form of information what we were doing while Trump was in office, and they didn't tell Trump.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid of what Trump would do.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, Mr. President?
Well,
we just shot down the Chinese balloon. Bomb the fuckers. It's
okay.
like, no, Mr. President, stop.
Well, let's talk about war, right? Because we have a war going on.
For people who don't know, Gary served in the military.
Yeah.
Okay, he was a Marine for how many years?
4 years.
How many tours?
One tour to Afghanistan.
One tour in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So we have a war going on in Russia, or in Ukraine, from Russia, right? The world has just sent tanks to Ukraine to fight Russia. America being one of them, or United States, I should say, because America's more of a continent than a, you know. But so United States, right? Poland, I think Germany, France, Great Britain, we're all sending tanks to Ukraine to fight Russia out of Ukraine. So now the world is, I mean, we haven't declared war on Russia, but Russia could take this as a declaration of, you know, war against them, right?
Yeah.
Well, who's the only other superpower communist country is China. So now all of a sudden, China's sending balloons our way to what? To maybe distract us?
Yeah, I feel like it was a distraction.
Right? China's just like, okay, well, I'm just going to poke them so that they focus on us, you know, so that Russia can do what they need to do.
Well, I think there was a, I forgot what guy. He was like I have to listen to the podcast, so don't quote me, and I forgot his name. It's just so fucking smart. It's hard to keep track when he's talking. But if I'm saying corrected, if we get involved, we may fuck everything over. With not just like the war or anything. I'm talking about like the actual like live stock of Russia and Ukraine. I think I have to. We'll continue this on the next podcast. I'll figure out more. But if I remember correctly, that we will have a huge impact. It's better for us, I believe, not to get involved than it is to get involved, because there are some.
Oh, for sure.
And not just like war politics. I'm talking environmentally and shit that will happen with the food and the famine of starvation of
China.
China
Yep.
and Russia because the resources that they have.
Well, that's it. They don't have any
have
resources.
nothing.
When it comes to
They have
food and
nothing.
stuff. They import everything.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're fucked.
China
Their
is
life
really,
expectancy is dropping.
well, they're taking a big risk of poking us because most of their food comes from us.
Yes.
Right? Sure, we
We
get
export a lot.
sure we get a lot of shit from them.
Yeah,
From the
but we
factories and
export a
shoes.
lot of food to them.
Yes. Yeah. But the difference is we can make shoes here.
Exactly. We have.
We
the
can
ability
make
to
vehicles
these
here.
things yeah.
We have the ability to make the stuff that they're importing. It's just cheaper from over there.
Yeah.
But if they stop doing it, like we would be okay. We still have food.
I don't think we'll be perfect. I don't think
No,
we'll be
no, no,
nowhere.
no.
I think we are going to suffer.
well,
a
I
little
think
bit,
supplies
but I think-
would.
Yeah,
would
but we're
hinder.
definitely not going to be the level where they're
Yeah,
at. Yeah,
for sure.
And from
We
what
would
I
still have
know is
food.
their generational offspring. So the children that they have, there's a big gap
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
between. So they fuck themselves over with their generations, meaning that they're gonna have this. The population's horrible in Russia and in China, and our population is actually, I think, pretty bad too. I think we have it is right. Yeah, there's this. Yeah, the population.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also part of our.
Well,
Yeah, so we gotta start procreating. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you have to think about it, right? Like you double, right? I mean, John, you meet a girl, you might be.
Wait, I'm sorry, but for population, what is the proper time to have a kid? I would say probably early 20s, maybe late teens. If we're talking population,
Well, we're talking about socially
like,
or population wise?
like population, like populating Earth, and make sure we have the right generations in order in the time that they're supposed to be in, and to take over the country as we go past.
if
We're
you're
a
trying
little
to
late
grow
for
the
that, brother.
population, probably early as you can.
I think we're late.
I think. Well, I think like 30 is a good age, right? I look at it this way. What is the retirement age for you to get Social Security in America?
65.
65. Yeah. If you were to take a guess, or if you were, how long do you think a career should be?
30 years.
30 years? Yeah. Okay. So then you shouldn't start your career until you're 30.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me you're going to have a kid before you start your career?
Right. Yeah, but also that just goes,
Right?
but that
I
also
mean-
goes by what's current to today's job force and the income that people made. Now you're comparing that almost to like the 9 to 5, the jobs that we were brought up to be prepared for, but we didn't take into account for YouTubers making money, millions of dollars at the age of 18.
Sure.
We're not talking about YouTube
Well,
fighters.
we're just
not
talking about the general
I know,
public,
but,
right? I mean,
but this goes into factor because a lot of kids have gotten rich over this, like a lot, and that. Yeah, I know. I know.
well, that's
yeah,
it.
I know.
I mean, we talk about the average income in America is probably like 55,000.
I would say less than that, honestly.
No, I think that's the median. I think if you
Do you
Google
look at
it,
the average income of American?
it's anywhere between 55 and 65,000. Obviously, it differs per state. California, if you make 55,000, you're in poverty.
Yeah.
Florida, you make 55,000, you're good
solid.
if you're a single person.
It's gonna be like California real fucking soon, bro.
Yeah. But
Man,
54,000.
Man is dialed in today. Man is dialed. He's
So-
batting for 3 for 3,
Oh,
baby.
shoot.
He ain't stopping.
so the top 1% makes over
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the top 1% of America.
That's what ladies want right there.
Here we go. I'm going to do another one off the top of my head.
Oh shit! Get
I
ready,
think
boys.
the world population has just crested 700 billion people. Yes,
700 billion.
billion people.
Is that a lot or not?
Billion?
I feel that's a fucking lot. So what?
Yeah. Or maybe it was 7 billion. Maybe 7 billion. Maybe it just crested 7 billion. I may be 7.8 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah.
So what's it supposed to be at though? For like,
Well, I mean, that's a lot of fucking people.
I know that's a lot, but we're obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't remember. I think America has 1 billion people in it now, or the United States has 1 billion people. But China's up there. They have a shit ton of people.
Well, yeah, but now
You
the
know-
population, like, there's a gap now because remember for a while they were like, you shouldn't have more than one kid to a household and it should
Yeah.
be men, right? And this was a problem, and that's why they're having a
But is there
population
wrong?
collapse.
Is it wrong to have population control? What is your thought?
No,
about
when it's
population
overpopulation, yes, that was the whole idea of China doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And that was also a lot of our upbringing coming up, right? Was like, there's too many people in this world, and your parents tell you what hard work is, wait to have kids because they had kids early, all that bullshit,
Yeah.
right? And you saw what your parents go through. That's why a lot of us are waiting to have kids till much later till we're more secure. But there's a gap that happens, and that's the argument that's being brought up. And I'm gonna read up on this, but there is legit evidence, and it's so hard for me to remember because it's so fucking like articulate. But like how China and Russia, and this is why this not good for us to get involved is, and we're there too, but nowhere near them, is their population collapse is coming soon, and it's gonna fuck a lot of their economy over.
Yeah.
To where the country will collapse, and they're what.
From 1975, the world population was 4 billion, and in like less than 50 years, the population doubled.
Damn, them boomers really went to town, huh?
Well, no, 75. That's after boomers.
Is it?
Yeah, that's after boomers.
It took the world 1975 to get to 4 billion, and then within 50 years, it already
Well, yeah. Well, that goes to show stability in economy when the traditional
Well-
9 to 5 when
shows like how much the population
yeah.
is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to think like most people have more than 2 kids. So now you're adding to the population, right? I think 2 kids for a couple that's together forever is like the perfect number, right? Because you're just replacing yourself. Replace yourself in the population in the long run. And now they grow up, they kind of take your spot in the, you know, in the works of the world, like, you know, taking care of what they need to take care of and
Yeah.
replace yourself. Once you start having more than that, now you're increasing the population.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have to think your kids are going to have kids. So if they have more kids
Yeah.
and more kids and more kids,
Yeah.
obviously the population is going to grow,
Yeah.
you know? And I mean, population growth is not a bad thing in some aspects, but we're going to run into a point where there's not enough food to feed people. There's not enough. I mean, not in America. I don't think in the United States. I mean, there's plenty of times where we have leftovers and we toss them out.
I think
you know,
that theory is kind of like outdated. I think that's pretty much like there's not enough food because I think we're pretty much supplementing on our own, and the vast variety of diets out there now, and like this woke like the emission of gases and all this stuff has like helped a lot with a lot of these. I would say, you know, lab grown, like hydroponic lettuce, for example. A lot of these lab grown stuff that could be grown literally in lab, you know.
yeah, but
It's
this
pretty
is all new to us. What is the side effects of this stuff?
hydroponic lettuce is
lab-grown-
finest.
I
We
mean,
used
that
to
we
sell it
know
at
of.
Publix all the time. No, it's fine. It's literally fine.
is it?
Hydroponic just means it's grown in water without dirt. It's grown
Oh,
in
is
water
it?
in a lab controlled lab. It's the same thing people do when they make marijuana or
But are
when
we
they
going to
fucking
have
grow
enough
weed in their
space for all
basement.
this stuff?
True,
Where are
but
we
there's
gonna-
factories. You can get more space out of factory on levels than you can on the ground where you're controlling pesticides, insects, animals, and all this stuff, right? You have a controlled environment here. A controlled environment
Sure.
gets the highest yield no matter what you think, you know? The only thing that actually changes that is natural causes, hurricanes, stuff like that. But what I'm saying is I have to look into it because we're getting deep into it. We'll stop on this end, but I'm pretty sure there is a huge population issue with America. Like there's this gap, and from what I remember listening to was, and it makes sense because a lot of us grew up this way. We grew up, we saw the struggle of our families, we saw like the importance of money and all this stuff, and we don't want to end up like our parents. We don't want to work a 9 to 5 that we're not happy working with, coming home, feeding 2 kids that we can barely supply our own self and doing that, struggling going to school, all that shit.
Yeah.
And then we all grew up like, I want to get the dream job that I want. I want the dream car that I want. I want to find the loved one. I want to have fun in my 20s, not like my parents did. And then I want to settle down and have kids. And because of that idea happening is now we have this gap where there's this generation that's not going to be filled in because no matter what you think or do, you know, we're supposed to procreate at a certain age. Because if you look at like the anatomy of the body and when we're able to start procreation with women and stuff, it goes far back than we
But this
would
goes
think
into
of 30s.
society. I mean, back in the 20s.
Society has changed.
You know,
you are
like-
absolutely right.
Like
You're
women
absolutely
didn't
right.
work. I mean, they did, but it wasn't unheard of for there to be a housewife.
You're
and
right. No,
stuff
no,
like
you're
that,
absolutely.
You know?
Society has changed, and I think because society has changed, that is why we're playing a double-edged
We're gonna,
sword.
yeah. I mean, listen. Regardless of your views on trans, right?
Here we go, Gary, back at it again.
No, I mean, but trans, right? Trans, right?
What is done is probably trained.
No, trans. No, not trains. Trans, right?
Yeah,
Trans cannot procreate.
they cannot.
They cannot, right?
They may say they can.
They may.
Well, a trans man biologically is a female, but is a trans man, can't have a kid essentially.
if they haven't gone through
procedure.
reconstructive
Yeah.
surgery, right? The problem is we're in a society, at least in America, where we're trying to. And again, I don't care what you do. I don't want to sound like, I'm against it and I'm transphobic
boomer.
and stuff. No, I mean, I don't care, right?
I know Gary.
It's
when
just
I'm bullshit
educational,
Gary,
you know what I mean? But it's we can't
For those who don't know, me and Gary worked for the most like progressive fucking company. Like, They hired anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And Gary was a manager, treated everybody the same.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. I love everybody. I'll treat everybody with respect. You treat me with respect.
Yeah.
Don't care. But we can't unnormalize straight couple sex. We can't make it unnormal.
Wait a minute. Have you seen the shit with the lab grown babies?
I am not.
Bro, I am not about that shit. You will not catch me lacking doing that shit. Ain't no way, brother. We all knew it was coming, because now, I mean, we all knew it was coming as soon as Kim was able to have a baby not in her own body. Had to have a surrogate, to have Kanye and Kim's baby in another. We all knew if you could put it in a
artificial
different body.
insemination has been something that's
I'm
been,
telling you,
you know.
that is huge. And that goes, and they're going to use it to push the people who can't have kids due to health issues, the women who may pass away during it, who have, issues with their, cervix, all this stuff. They're going to push that. But now that's the way that they can't have kids now.
Yeah. But we can't normalize it.
We're turning into
Because-
Krypton. I swear to God. Bro, Krypton went to hell in the comic books because they had a controlled population of no natural born sex, only through labs. And because of that, they collapsed their own fucking economy because everybody had no freedom to choose what they wanted. They were programmed to have their own work and their own life planned out.
Now,
We're going down that road, bro.
I know.
I swear to God. I'm going to make it Superman. I swear to God.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because in
Chris is
order,
back there sweating, bro.
he's like, oh shit, I'm going to get
Shit,
canceled
bro.
for this. Oh shit. No, I mean, it's we can't unnormalize it because then our population suffers. We still have to have people.
Yes.
You have to create people. Yes. You can't, the world ends if people cannot have babies. Right? So you can't unnormalize it. We can make and we can try to make what you want to do normal, right? Even though there's a mental disability linked with what you have, maybe not disability is not the right word, but a mental, yeah, okay, yeah, is
just like some guy with the cancel fucking banners just goes back.
yeah, well that's it, right? But what is it? Gender dysphoria?
Yeah.
Right? Where you think you're a different gender. I'm not a Ben Shapiro, I don't follow him 100%, but he said it, perfectly. If your grandpa is talking to the radio,
you don't go ahead.
right?
That's a
You
good
don't go,
idea, Grandpa.
hey, grandpa, that's awesome.
That's real.
They're
No,
talking
you
back
give
to
him
you.
medication,
You,
yes.
you say, grandpa, there's something wrong with you. The radio's not talking to you.
Yeah.
You try to get them help. But here we are taking this mental, illness and making it normal. Do we live with mental illness every day? Yeah. We talked about depression. We talked about, PTSD. People live with this stuff. But it's not the normal. We treat these people. I go to counseling for PTSD. You know what I mean? We try to find help in ways. We try to find help for these people, right? Now we're saying, oh, you don't need help. You're okay. You're normal.
Yeah, I think we're not taking it into concern. Now some of those people probably don't need.
No, I'm not
certain
saying they
help.
need to be
But
locked up in a
see what you're
padded
saying.
room.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right? I'm not saying lock them up in a padded
you
room
used a
like
great
the old
example,
days,
right?
but
You get help, and I wouldn't know you any differently. You seem normal to me.
Sure.
But I wouldn't know that you get no sleep, that you have issues.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know any of that because
You
one,
wouldn't.
you don't tell me.
Yeah.
Right. 2, you're not vocal about it.
Yeah.
3, you get help, and it probably does help you a little bit. But there's some people who probably are like that who will have these issues that you're explaining. But there's probably some people who don't have those issues at all, who really just say, no, I really do feel like I'm in the wrong body.
Yeah.
And to them, they have no problem thinking. And I think it boils down to, does it cause harm to anybody else?
Yeah.
Because I lived with a grandmother who had, and I swear to God, guys, it's the craziest shit in the world. She had bipolar disorder. She was diabetic, schizophrenic, and had dementia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you loved your grandma.
I loved my grandma. And the only reason why we really had to get her help is because she was harming others.
Yeah.
because it caused, and I think that's the difference. That's why you're getting a lot more leeway with people who don't get the help that they need that you're suggesting, because there's no physical harm to us, but it's harming society.
Again,
and like,
whatever the help is, it is. I'm not saying that these people need to go be locked up in a padded room, be brainwashed and told that, no, you're a man, right? But there has to be something that's not normal or taught to kids in the manner that we're trying to teach it to kids.
Well, first of all, that was the people who are becoming, coming out as a different person and as a different gender, they were never taught that as kids. Because that was never growing up.
Not now.
Exactly.
But see
now
it
we're
a
doing
lot
it exactly.
now.
And that's where it affects it. I can see how people, because you don't get the right to tell my children what.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that.
That's a home conversation.
But you can't see that maybe some people may feel like they're in the wrong body.
No, I can. I can see.
Because there is science, that shows like just even the smallest temperature change in the womb can change your gender. That's why some people have higher testosterone, like as females and stuff like that. A temperature change changes the ovaries from dropping into balls.
Okay.
A temperature change.
Yeah.
So there could be and the
Whatever
vessel may have an error. So some
What-
people may be actually normal, but to them they're like, I wasn't supposed to be.
Whatever the science is behind it, I can't fight science.
Yeah.
Right? Again, I'm not trying to say that whatever you want to do, you want to do. I mean, that's the point,
If we're cutting bullshit, right, and we talk about it,
Yeah.
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't affect me.
Well, don't
Force your
tell
viewpoints
me,
on me
don't tell me my opinion
my
is
children.
wrong.
And it hits you differently, right?
Yeah.
Because one, you have kids who are in school.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You have to worry, like, one of my kids being taught.
Yeah.
And you're a fucking busy man. You can't have the luxury right now to sit there and have homeschooled kids.
Yeah.
You're busy. You're working. You own your own business. You go out your way. You do a bunch of shit. So now you do have that back end on your, one of my kids being taught.
Yep. Well, and I've instructed my kids that if anything is brought up about sex,
Some people will say program.
or or sex or gender or these things, to ask to be excused and go to the library.
Yeah.
Because these are not school topics.
Yes.
Some people might translate it into science,
Yeah.
right? But it's just not
No,
a
I
school
understand.
topic,
I feel like
right?
I feel like the kid situation falls under the like some of the rights situation. These are my rights.
Yes.
And I feel like when you have your own kids, your own offspring,
Yeah.
you have no fucking right to tell me or tell my kids what the world is. I
Yes.
will shape them in preparation. Now that is a double-edged sword because some people are shaped into the world of a false viewpoint.
Sure.
But it's solely up to the parents.
Yep.
Who do we blame kids' behaviors on? Parents.
Well-
Because it's up to the parents. And I understand that. And that's why I completely agree. Even if we were on the wrong, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. My kids I teach my kids the world on how I see it, and obviously that's a double-edged sword. But no
Well,
one else has the right to do that.
The thing is, right, like my oldest daughter is in 5th grade. Okay. She was sent home with a paper that she did in class about stressors.
Stressors?
Yeah. What stresses you out? And it talked about like
She's in 5th grade.
5th grade.
What stresses her out?
What could possibly stress out a 5th grader to the end that you need to be taught what a stressor is and how to take care of the stressor, right? Like on the backside, it was like, so one side it said, what stresses you out, right? And it's like money. Like my daughter's in 5th grade. What the hell is she paying for?
Well, there is to play devil's advocate, growing up like this as well from my
Yeah,
family.
me too.
Kids who are poor,
Yeah.
they do get these stressors. They may
Yeah.
not know it.
Yep.
But they don't. So maybe that is an excuse built in to kind of like filter out, see who's going through struggles, because some of these things are juicy, some crazy shit.
So my cousin said this perfectly. Kids don't know until they're told.
Very
Okay.
true. Yeah.
So you put these seeds of
Yeah.
creativity into their brain of now I'm stressed. Now I know what stresses me out. Right? So before, my daughter may have been stressed and felt stress, but she dealt with it in her own way without being told that these are stressors. Now she's being told these are stressors. You can get out this way,
Yeah.
right? And maybe a little older.
Yeah, that's a conversation maybe
you
for
know,
like 8th grade.
Yeah, exactly.
High school,
Like
starting to develop a little bit.
maybe maybe you found an outlet for your stress and it's not the right way, right?
Yeah.
When we were growing up, I mean, people would get in fights in school and, you would argue with your brother or, you'd punch your brother and be, whatever your stress release was, right? Good or bad, there's got to be an avenue for it in some way.
I agree.
But as a kid, you kind
Yeah.
of learn that
You're
yourself.
in 5th grade.
Yeah.
You don't know much of the world. You're going by. You're still waking up.
Yeah.
And, in the mornings. You go home. Maybe homework take 10 minutes.
Yeah. 30
TV
minutes to
play,
read. I think that's
TV
what,
play. There's
yeah.
not much. And that's the average kid. And we understand there's outliers who have kids who are dealing with stuff. Like I was definitely an outlier. I was going to, work with my mom. I just clean offices as soon as. That's why I never did good in school. You're like, hey, we gotta go clean offices. To put food on the table. I can't hire to help people. My kids gotta help me. It's traditional Latin culture. That was different. But especially here, kids aren't like that. But I never even really felt stress like that. Because I didn't even know what stress was.
Well, that's it.
As a
You
kid,
may have.
Exactly. I
but
was
you didn't know
definitely
what it was
stressed. And I
called.
didn't know. But to me,
Yeah.
that's what life was. Because that's all I knew.
Exactly. But you learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
Whether you did it the right way or the wrong way, you learn to deal with it. And maybe the devil's advocate is, well, if we teach our kids young how to deal with it, then, then they won't do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that point of view, and I can agree to it to an extent. But how easy do we make life for kids in the sense of,
Well, life's hard, first of all, right?
for sure,
For
everybody
kids, no
has,
matter what.
yeah.
So we should really cherish and take seriously the time of them not having stress. So let's not teach them stress at all.
But-
because there's a very small window for kids to go in life without being stressed and know how
Yeah.
shit the world is. So let's not derive them
them
and
from
start
their
telling them-
childhood.
and so tell them this is
Yeah.
stress at 5th grade. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, but you also, if you tell my kid, right, oh, when you have stress, just walk away from the situation. In some cases, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? Get out. But what does that solve if you have money problems?
Walking away doesn't do anything. Confront it, handle it.
Confront it, handle it.
Yeah.
And you only learn that by doing it.
Yeah. Through life experience.
Through life experiences.
Yeah.
So you
Or watching-
These are things that like maybe bringing to the forefront in the sense of like you said, maybe a little older, 8th,
Yeah.
9th grade, you kind of get into the okay, well listen, how do you handle stress? Because by that age you know what stress is. Shoot, I mean I got to take AP classes. I want to be a doctor. Like now your family starts pressuring you
Yep,
into going
yep,
a certain
yep,
way. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of
Let's
stresses.
cherish the time.
Yes,
Kids
right?
not be- 5th grade,
Yeah.
6th grade, so, like they should enjoy
They should enjoy their
Exactly.
childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
So
100%.
and these seeds are being planted for the future, and it's. I mean, I grew up with older family members.
Yeah.
My aunts and uncles kind of raised me. My grandma was a big part of my life for
Yeah.
the first couple years. So I have this old mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
don't say.
And and I'm not saying my way's right. Or my thought
Well, your
process is the
way
right
is
way,
your way.
but that's my way.
Yeah.
And I felt
And it's
like
got you this far. You
I'm-
haven't caused
I'm-
any harm to anybody.
yeah, I feel like I'm the person I am today because I learned how to deal with the stressors
Well,
myself.
that's everybody. They go through life. Everyone goes
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
through their own tribulations, their own experiences, and
Yeah.
their own solutions. And we hope to pass that on correctly
Yep.
to our
our
offspring.
kids, yeah.
Which no one else should be
Yeah.
teaching
Yep.
besides us.
100%. So, but yeah, that one was,
Pete, hold
yeah.
on.
Well, it's one of those, like, they're difficult topics to talk about because if you don't side with the people that are loud, you get shit like J.K. Rowling's,
Yeah.
hates raids on
Yeah.
freaking Hogwarts Legacy
People
for no
raise
reason.
your own kids. Don't let anybody teach your kids differently, unless you're a racist. That's never allowed. But raise your own kids. Handle your business.
It's not really be involved in your child's
Yeah,
education.
Be a good parent.
Yeah, be a good
Be
parent.
a good human.
I mean, that's
That's
the
all you
biggest
gotta
thing.
do. Be a good human.
be a good
and
person.
Teach correct.
Yep.
That way, mistakes aren't made again.
We don't want history to repeat itself.
Exactly.
In the sense
That's why
of
we
that
teach our
manner.
kids.
So teach your kids right. Teach your kids to respect culture, to respect people. To understand different thought processes. And that's the biggest thing. So
I think you couldn't have wrapped this podcast up any better. I think that was a great way to end the note.
cool.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed.
Yep.
We'll have Mr. Gary Pate on again
Oh, jeez, you threw my last name
know,
in there?
I
Oh,
did.
shoot.
Yeah, I know,
now
my
you got
bad.
to
No,
bleep
you're
that
good.
one out. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
well, we can post edit it. It's fine.
no, I'm good. I'm good.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll catch you guys on the next one in Deep with Johnny Boy. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.